Hey guys, this is Gaijin Hunter, and you're listening to episode 28 of the Third Fleet podcast. Yep, that's right. If you listen to one episode a day, just like the doctor ordered, by the time you get to this one, it should be the exact release date of Monster Hunter Stories 2. Getting ready to go into E3 and Game News Month, the excitement in the air is palatable. Speaking of people who are going to be very busy, I'm joined here with my friend Rurikhan. How are you doing?
I am doing fantastic after that intro. Like, you got me thinking. I was like, what? Because like, guys, we don't rehearse this stuff at all. Like, Gaijin just comes up with his version of the intro. And like when you said, wait, if you listen to one of these a day, so we're 28 days away from Monster Hunter Stories 2?
It's July 9th.
Yeah, it's July 9th.
30 days away, 30 days. And by time, considering like midnight releases and when this thing goes up live, it'll pretty much be 28. So it'll be about one episode a day.
Damn. Okay, guys. So you guys know the fastest way of getting to Stories 2 is to go back and listen to all of the episodes up until this.
Yeah.
No, you don't.
I always have fun with numbers and try to find out ways to reword how long a wait is.
That is pretty funny. Sometimes one of the things that I've noticed that talking about people listening to older podcasts is that there's a lot of people that they start listening. They obviously they don't have to listen to the backlog, but I constantly see questions about topics that we already brought up in previous episodes, and I'm just like, I don't know what to do about that. Like, I don't know if we should bring up the topics again and talk about it again, or just like you should go watch the older episodes because we talked about that stuff. Some of those things more than once.
I remember it was a few weeks ago. There was a comment because I always wake up and I read the comments on my YouTube feed in the studio app, and I try to respond, or at least I read the comments so people know that I am actually interacting. And there was someone that was commenting on the I Stole the set from Fatalis. And I think they said something like, I can't believe you didn't actually, you still haven't beaten him or whatever. I'm like, did you look at when this thing was posted? But to their defense, YouTube, sometimes the algorithm gets a little funky and will recommend a video that was years old. And then people think that it was yesterday. And so people are like, wait, I thought your daughter was 8. Because it recently, apparently the algorithm chose a reaction video to a trailer that me and Yuna did like 3 or 4 years ago. That's really funny.
It's so insane. Like, people sometimes still get recommended like one of my World of Warcraft tanking guides, which was one of the first videos I ever made and isn't even on the same channel that I'm in right now. And then it's like, oh, I didn't know that you played WoW. And I'm just like, well, that's because I don't, not anymore. I used to a long, long time ago. But today, I wanted to start off the podcast with something that is completely off topic, but I thought was pretty fun. So I asked for people to submit a couple of questions and stuff because there's not a lot of news going on right now with Rise, so I wanted to make it more broad, today's episode, a little bit more broad, talk about a lot of broad topics. So I just asked people, hey, stuff that you guys would like us to talk about. And there was one that I thought was really funny. This was by 529C Mitch, and he said, favorite easy dinner recipes. And for starters, that confused me a little bit. Like, what's an easy dinner recipe? Is it just like a recipe that's easy for you to cook dinner? Or is like easy dinner like a brand of some kind? Like, do you know this?
Easy potion, easy max potion, easy firecaster.
Easy dinner.
That's the first thing that I thought about when you said that. My brain is already on Monster Hunter, so.
But basically, my idea was, okay, so let's first start. Let's talk a little bit about food today. What is your absolute favorite dish?
Oh my God, you don't want to get me talking about food. If I could pay money to get my taste buds or whatever reprogrammed so that I actually enjoy most food, I would pay maybe
so you're a picky eater.
I would pay like $50,000 cash to get that surgery done. I would, because I look at food, I could smell it, I could see it, I know it's delicious, but when I put it in my mouth, my body's like, bleh! And that's like for everything. So it's like I just don't like anything, and so like it's much easier for me to count what I can eat than what I don't eat. It's not allergies, it's nothing like that. It's just I hate the taste of most food, and so it always was really hard if I had to go over someone's house and they were cooking dinner and I had to, like, swallow it down or whatever and try to look like I'm not having a gag reflex because I'll get a gag reflex sometimes on food.
Oh
Like my
my
body
God.
doesn't want to take it. So it's a horrible curse that I wish I can, like, if somebody knows of like actual like hypnosis that works or something, I will pay money. I really would love to enjoy food. So when people ask me about like my favorite food, I'm like, I enjoy drinking, which I don't do anymore. Unfortunately, I stopped drinking alcohol last December, when the anxiety issues started up.
Hmm.
But like food, I mean, honestly, if I told you what, like, if okay, you're gonna die tomorrow, you can only choose one final meal, what would it be? If I told you what it is, you'd laugh your ass off because it's so ghetto, it's so stupid. But for some reason, in my memory, is the best tasting food I've ever had in my life, which is the Italian cheese bread from Little Caesars Pizza in America. All it is, it's like regular pizza crust, but they put garlic and spices and cheese on it, and that's all it is. And 2 years ago, I went back to the States with my daughter to see my family, and I had it, and I was like, I gotta see if I'm dramatizing this because I haven't had it in like a decade. And I had it, and foodgasm. I could have just died. It was so good.
That
So I don't know what my favorite dish is. I mean, I make a lot of stews because it's the easiest, laziest food, and it's something that Yuna really likes. So like beef stew, white stew, corn stew, like that stuff is easy. It's literally just meat, potatoes, and carrots, and green peas or something, just thrown into a iron pot with, you just let it cook. It's very
yeah.
easy. But my
I'm just
favorite
like so
lazy dish,
I'm just like
I
super
actually,
blown away by the fact that you can't even properly enjoy food. Like I did not know that about you at all. Like I was like, "Oh, damn. That
what's funny
sucks."
is that what sucks is my ex-wife is the opposite. She could eat anything, and I was so jealous. And then my daughter, unfortunately, has picked up my traits, but in reverse. So the things that I eat, she hates, and the things that she likes, I hate.
Oh
So,
no.
for example, I grew up basically eating fruit. I love fruit. I
Yeah.
can't think of the only fruit I can't eat is grapefruit. For me, for some reason, it tastes like vomit, and I don't know why.
Hmm.
It's weird. But I love fruit. Yuna hates all fruit. She won't eat any fruit whatsoever. She
That's
hates
bad.
strawberries, watermelon. I know. So the only thing she will eat, and so I buy it because I want her to get some vitamin C, is dried mangoes. She likes dried mangoes a lot.
Hmm.
So it's like such a pain in the ass. But she's still developing, so hopefully her taste buds will evolve. But
Yeah.
she's eating a lot of diverse food. The school lunches here in Japan are very, very healthy and diverse. So she's getting exposed to a lot of different foods there. So thank goodness for that. But I will sometimes cook stuff for her like fish because I'm not a fan of fish. I'll cook dinner for her and then I'll cook dinner for me. Like I'll separate it sometimes. So I
Oh.
want her to be happy. So and I
Yeah.
want her to, if there's a dish she wants. But there's one thing I'd make. I'm sorry, I'm going on and on and on about this.
Let's go for it.
As
I'm really
basic as a
curious.
single parent, I have to cook dinner every day. So it's quick and easy is like the number one important thing for me. There's something I make that we both enjoy, which is quick and easy, and it's healthy and it's delicious. I don't know why I started calling it something that it's not. So we call it potaf, but it is not potaf. It's actually it's a version of like vegetable soup. But basically, we have a like an electronic pressure cooker.
Hmm.
So all I do is I put in you cut up some carrots, you cut up some radish into like thin like triangle slices, so they're nice and soft. So a bunch of radish, bunch of carrots, some cabbage, um, little like mini sausages, and you just cut them up into little pieces so that they're like biteable size. And what else? And potatoes. So you put in some potatoes, same size that you would for maybe like a beef stew. And then what you put in is just it's like 800 milliliters of water, and then this consomme. Is it consomme? In Japan, we say consomme. Is it consom? I don't know what the
I'm
hell.
assuming it's some kind of like a base for soup, right?
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
it's like a it's like
Concentrated.
a yeah. So it's like a chicken consomme or consomme soup,
Yeah, yeah,
and you
yeah.
just put in the two packets there. You mix it up. You put it down. 11 minutes later, you're ready to eat,
So it's
and
basically
you get it.
vegetable soup, but with
Yeah,
sausage.
and it's
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah,
And it's
my
super
mom actually
easy.
does something like that, and I like vegetable soup. I didn't used to when I was younger, but I like it now. So
How about you?
me on the other hand, I love food. This is why I'm
Oh,
fat.
I'm so jealous.
I I I love all kinds of different food. There's actually very little that I do not like. And my favorite possible meal, and for starters, it's like this. Listen, whenever it comes to favorite food, my mom has to be the one cooking. So when I say
Mm,
my favorite meal, it needs to be made by my mom. Otherwise, it doesn't count. So
yeah.
my favorite meal is my mom's lasagna. It's
Ooh.
the best thing you can possibly eat. Like, I don't care. Some people out there might be thinking, "No, I ate something at this restaurant." No, you're wrong. I'm sorry. This is a factual thing. My mom does the best lasagna in the world. Period.
Well, I do love lasagna, so I need to come over to your house.
So you do like lasagna?
Yeah, I eat a lot of pasta, a lot of stews, and pretty much I'm a meat eater and pasta
Okay,
eater, basically.
but you like lasagna.
Yes.
Because you're sitting there telling me I don't like any food. And now you're like, I like
No,
lasagna.
yeah, there's some foods I eat a lot of, yeah, that I like. But lasagna, pasta, anything pasta, tomato, meat type of
Yeah.
base and stuff like that,
See, it's
I'm all
like
good.
Italian food. I love Italian food. Like, I'm Portuguese, but I love Italian food. Like, just give me Italian, I'll be happy. But my mom makes a mean lasagna. But now, stuff that is like easy to make and that I also like to do. One of the easiest things to make is I'll go like to like a supermarket, and you can get cut up vegetables already ready to be like stir fried. So I'll get
Oh, that's
that.
awesome.
Yeah, I'll get. See, look, now I talk about food, and you like everything that I'm talking about. This is so.
No, and I'm talking about the prep stage, the fact that you don't have to skin and cut up all
Oh,
the
no.
vegetables.
Like, yeah, they're already. They're probably not as healthy because they've probably been sitting there on the shelf for like a while, being transported and whatnot. But it's like super convenient. So I grab that. I throw that in the frying pan. A little bit of olive oil. If I have the option, because not every place sells this oil, I like sesame oil because sesame oil gives it a
Oh, we
different
use
taste.
sesame. I use sesame oil for pretty much
Yeah,
everything.
I can
With the
imagine
stir
that
fry.
in Japan, like you guys have that much more readily available. Me, I have to go to like specialty shops to get friggin' sesame
Oh
oil.
no.
It's because in Portugal we have a lot of olives, so our traditional thing is olive oil. But I
Yeah.
like sesame oil, particularly when you're doing a stir fry. So a little bit of sesame oil, then you put a little bit of soy sauce in there, stir fry that stuff. And then what I'll do is sometimes I'll add some tuna in there because it's super easy. It comes in a can. You just like put the tuna in there. If you don't want the tuna, you can just put like a sausage in there, whatever. You put some other form of meat. You can put like even minced meat, right? Just put something in there that gives you the proteins. And then you mix that up with the stir fry, and I put all of that inside like a tortilla, kind of like
Oh,
a
nice.
taco. And then you just roll all that up, and then you grab a couple of fries, and you're good to go. Like, that's one of the
That
easiest and probably healthiest things that you can have, minus the
it
fries.
sounds
The fries are not
really.
healthy, but
I make something that sounds really similar to that actually, but because I don't have a lot of cut up vegetables, and there are some vegetables I can eat. So what I'll do is I'll take sesame oil, and they sell a little bag, in here in Japan of what's it called? Bean sprouts. They're like white little like
soy
they almost look like
sprouts.
small little. Yeah,
Soy
they look like
sprouts.
little cigarettes or something. I don't. Soy sprouts. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're like, and they got little twirlies on the end. Like
Yeah, exactly.
small. Yeah, so I'll take it. It's a bag of those with some cut up. God, what's the English word for these things?
Shrooms? Some
I
shrooms?
don't know That's the problem. Is I moved here when I turned 21, so I never went grocery shopping as a kid.
Mushrooms? Is
I,
it mushrooms?
no, I hate mushrooms.
No, you
Uh,
can't. Oh, no. We can't be friends anymore. Like, what do you mean you hate mushrooms? You can't hate the
leeks,
fungi?
leek. It's like a
Yeah.
very thin green. So it has some cut up leeks and a little bit of cut up carrots.
Yeah.
And then I'll just put that into the frying pan. Put in some sesame oil. Add in
that's so
just
good.
a little bit. Add in just a little bit of soy sauce. The exact same thing that you
Yeah.
do. And then
You,
what we put
listen,
in is
let,
I
let
put
me
in
tell you.
chicken breast.
Let me tell you a
the lean
secret.
stuff.
Let me tell you a secret for that. Okay, this is gonna drive you wild. Do you like Crap, I forget the name of the thing. It's caju in Portuguese. I forget. God, it's why is the name so different in a different language? It's like peanuts, but instead of peanuts, they look like beans.
Yeah, cashew nuts. Yeah.
Yeah, cashew. That's it. So you like those?
Yeah, I like.
So
I
listen,
love
you
nuts.
do that.
Nuts
that
are the
you
one
just,
thing I do like.
Listen, you do that you just said. Then you break up a couple of cashews on when you're near the end, not at the start. You break up a couple of cashews on top of it, and then you add some brown sugar.
Brown sugar. Okay, I've not
a
tried
little
that.
bit of brown sugar, so you get that like sweet taste on top of it, dude. It's so good. It's insane.
Because I have done cashews because there's a Chinese dish in which they use cashews, and it got me thinking about that. But so I think it's very similar to what we make, and then I put a little bit of cabbage in there, and I put like a lid on there and just let it steam and get like really nice and soft.
But yeah, guys, that's a dish that is fairly easy to do because like most supermarkets nowadays have like cut up vegetables that you can just like get. If they're maybe too big, you might want to consider chopping them up a little bit more. Just put them on the chopping board. Again, it's not that hard. Chop it up. Throw all that in the pot with sesame oil, a little bit of soy sauce. Stir fry that stuff. And it's so good, and it's healthy. That's the good thing. It's healthy too. So it's like that's one of the things that I love.
I know the culture is different depending on the country, but I don't know. I can't think back of how we did it in America because I go shopping for what we cook that day. I buy it that day.
Yeah.
Like I don't. Our refrigerator's empty basically usually.
Yeah,
like there's nothing in there.
That's usually the same way that I do it when I'm the one doing the cooking. My wife, she likes to buy a bunch of stuff and then I'm just like, yeah. And then it ages in the refrigerator and I don't like if you buy fruit and it sits in there for a week, I'm not eating that. Like, I'm sorry. Like this apple tastes like flour.
Like I can buy carrots and you don't put them in the refrigerator. You just put them like in the kitchen. Yeah. They'll start like molding within 2 days. Like, I don't know how people can keep carrots. It's like ridiculous. Yeah. So I just go. I mean, there's so many supermarkets around where I live. I'm so lucky. I've got
that is lucky.
I've got like 8 of them within like 10 minutes walking distance. So
Jesus.
I can just pick and choose and go. And that was one of the things I was looking for when I moved. Was I need lots of different choices. I don't want to be like in that town with just one supermarket and at the mercy of what they have. I want a variety of things so I can just lazily pick up something. But we also eat a lot of curry. Japanese curry. We eat a lot of. Because again, that's like a beef stew, basically. I mean, it's just rice and.
I'm not a huge fan of curry. There's something about the aftertaste of curry that I'm just like, it just hits me wrong. I don't dig it.
But we don't do the spice. Yuna doesn't like the spicy curry, so we do the sweeter type that they sell. So they sell like the what do you call it? Like the base already, and you just put it into the water, and then it makes it all perfect.
The powder, yeah,
yeah, and like it has apple in it as well, a little bit, and you put in just a little bit of honey. It's really nice. It's a sweet curry. It's very good.
I don't know. I'd have to taste, but most curries that I've tasted, at least where I live, most of the times it's more of the Indian
Spicy
flavor of curry.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I ain't about that life. That's not for me. Even if it's not spicy, just like the aftertaste of Indian curry, I can't stand it. Like it's really not for me.
Like, give me some really nice fresh naan. Give me some nice Indian curry that's not too spicy with some chicken. I'll go to town on it.
That doesn't work for me. But
guys, so there are some foods I eat.
Yeah. That was the food section of the podcast today because I thought it was really funny that someone asked us about easy dinner recipes. And I was like, yeah, sure, let's talk about food. Not to mention it was interesting to know that you have that condition that you actually have problems with a lot of food. But yeah, if you ever come up to Portugal, I'll get my mom to make us some lasagna. That'll be friggin' wild. Because she does the best one. It's a spirit. Like people might think they've eaten this really good lasagna somewhere. My mom's is better. Okay, it's that simple. Period. There's no discussion.
For any like maybe not old but younger listeners, I would say always do try to give yourself realize that your tastes change over time. So what I do is every year I will purposely buy food that I don't like and I will eat it and see if I can eat it. And there's been a few foods over the years that have actually been, I don't know what happened, but I like it. For example, I hated broccoli growing up. I
Oh,
love
I
broccoli now,
love broccoli. Yeah, me too.
which is good because it's like the healthiest damn thing. So it's like,
Oh, dude,
yeah, okay.
you want to know another one? Another one that I was in. Because like, look, I like broccoli. Sure, it's not like my favorite thing in the world. I like it, but there's this other vegetable, asparagus, dude. I could eat asparagus until like I could eat like you give me a bowl of asparagus right now, like cooked though, not raw, cooked, like stir fried. Dude, I will eat that
See,
thing
I
till
mean,
the cows come
my
home.
problem is in Japan, there's two types of asparagus. There's the regular one, which is like thick as shit, and it's like a bamboo stick, and it tastes horrible. It tastes like
No,
you're
no,
eating dirt. And then there's the really thin ones, which they call baby asparagus, which are sweet. If you steam them, they're very sweet.
it
Those I
might be the
like.
baby. It might be the baby ones. Then those are the ones
Yeah,
that I
they're
usually
nice.
find in
They're thin.
supermarkets here.
Thinner than even a pencil. Like they're little thin ones, and they're very green. They're very crisp. They're really nice.
Those I like. Those are very good.
I-
So we have we've been talking about food for like what? Let me see.
You know what this reminds me of is,
Talking about food for 20 minutes.
nothing made me laugh more than when in Monster Hunter World you ordered like the fish platter and they're like, "Here's your meat," and they give you like a big.
You know the best part about that. I got a friend of mine, Hengist, into Monster Hunter World. We played a ton of it. Not sure if you ever saw on my channel. We had this show called The Mighty Monster Hunters. That was me and my friend Hengist, and he's a vegan. So when we started playing, he would always order. You know how I have like the preset meals. There's one in there that's the veggie platter.
No, I didn't order this. Bring it back to the kitchen.
Yeah, he's like, he would always be like, I'm eating the veggie platter. And I'm like, you're going to eat yourself some chicken. Because the first menu you get is chicken. And he's like, what do you mean? I ordered the veggie platter. And I was like, doesn't matter.
Yeah, eating the meat. It's just
But
the illusion of choice.
He would still always order the veggie platter. Oh, it was funny as hell.
Well, I mean, it's good for elemental, dude. I fell in love with the veggie platter because of Alatreon, like that.
Yeah.
Getting your elemental.
For me,
But I can't wait to see the timestamps for this podcast. It's gonna be like, 25 minutes of food. People are gonna be like, "Wait, I thought this
What?
was a Monster Hunter podcast. What the hell?"
we talk about whatever we feel like, guys. That's the way it goes. But the reason I started using the veggie platter every now and then was for you it was Alatreon. For me it was Arch-Tempered Kieran. Dude, Arch-Tempered Kieran. I made my set. I called it the rubber boots.
That's one of those fights that I did once and I never did it again because no, thank you.
No, it was like with my
Hate
set.
that
It was actually really easy to do it with the set that I had because it was just like wide shelling, and all you did was shell. You just go like bam, bam, reload, bam, bam, reload, bam, bam. That was it. That's all you did that whole fight. It worked
'Cause
great.
I was playing lots of Insect Glaive back then, and like the thunder because of World, like it comes from the sky, and so like the sky is no longer safe. Like,
Yep.
it's quite dangerous to maneuver. I hated that monster. I remember when I gave the controller to Yuna, and she went in at it, and she's like, "Oh, this monster is easy." The first thing she does is run into like a master rank Kieran, and she downs it without carding. I'm like, "What the hell?"
Yeah.
It's just one of those things. It's one of those monsters. Some people find it easy and fun. Some find it horribly annoying, and I'm the latter.
It very much depends on the weapon. But
Yeah, she was using bow, and she can aim, unlike me.
Speaking of Yuna, I've been hearing things. I haven't really seen the video, but I did congratulate you on it already because I think it's a pretty significant thing that you did there. You and Yuna went in and you fought all Mother Narwa naked.
Naked, yes, and that does not mean that we were naked in our living room playing, which some people were like. I read that. I'm like, that's just no. That's what in Monster Hunter. When we say naked, we mean no armor and no talismans.
But this is the internet. People are always going to assume the worst possible thing. So it is
right?
what it is.
But yeah, so if you remember back when we did Yuna's 100th Narwa, she came up with the idea she wanted to do it with no armor and talismans as well, and no buddies as well. So it's like purely naked, and we did that, and we were able to finish that on the second attempt, and it went pretty good. But for this, I don't know what started this, but she's been asking for a few days, actually, maybe like a week now. She's like, we got to do all Mother with like naked. We got to do it with no armor. And I kept going like, I was like, have fun. Like
That's a bad idea.
I was like, I think this girl is just overestimating her knowledge of the fight. I was like, I just like, that doesn't sound fun. I don't even know if that sounds doable. I was like, Ibushi, yeah, sure. I was like, Narwa, I just, everything will like, so many things will one shot you. And she has those really fast, like, punches and stuff. I'm like, even with insurance, I don't think it's going to be possible. So I finally gave in. I said, okay, let's try it. And we got a lot farther than I thought we would. And then on the second attempt, we got her down to the blue, like, I've got whatever percent health left and I'm almost dead. And that's where we stayed for about 9 hours. So we
Jesus.
started at 6 p.m. and we ended up going until 3 a.m. that day, I think, or 2 a.m. Attempting it. And then I said, you know what, we're tired and we're making really dumb mistakes. So I was like, let's sleep and let's try again tomorrow. So we woke up and we started doing it again. And I'm telling you, like, it's really weird because we'll have like several hunts in a row where she would triple cart, many hunts in a row where I will triple cart. So it's always like one of us who is off. Like one of us is like on point, aggressive, doing good damage, not dying, and then the other one is just making stupid mistakes. And then the next
very
time
important. Very important before we continue. Which weapons did you choose to do this?
So Yuna chose the Ibushi Greatsword. So one of the things that we both decided is we're not doing this with ranged weapons. We're doing this with melee weapons. So she used the Ibushi Greatsword. You should see the video. I got video of the whole thing. She's quite aggressive
I know.
during the hunt.
Jesus Christ.
So she chose that. She chose Ibushi one because she loves the design. It's got good attack. It's like 210. It's got long blue sharpness, so she doesn't have to worry about sharpening because she's super aggro. Like even with no armor on, like I can't keep up with her. She was definitely the MVP when it came to damage, and I was using the spiked bat, sword and shield. Spiked bat, I think that's Diablos.
That is, yes, it is Diablos. I was confusing it with Barrow.
I chose that.
Diablos.
Yeah, I chose that just because it had high raw. It was like 230, I think, and it had pretty good blue sharpness. And because I used the shield combo so much, I knew that I would only have to sharpen like 2 times during the whole hunt. And I would find those opportunities. So that's what we decided to run with. I actually decided not to do Mitsu's Shoryugeki because I just didn't. We had to play it safe, right? And I didn't want to. I would rather have a longer hunt and actually win than to have a shorter hunt and lose more. So in hindsight, that was probably a bad idea because we actually did it because we did it again, and then off camera, and I did it with the Shoryugeki, and it went a lot easier.
Because there's this thing about Shoryugeki, you're constantly thinking about it as the counter, but it's also very good to just use it. Like, if the monster is down, it's about to get back up, it's just very good to just do a Shoryugeki, even without the counter. It still deals good damage and good KO damage, so it's still a good ability.
The windmill is good, though, is in case you accidentally get caught and you know the tail's about to smash you in the face. You can use the windmill, which is nice. And it does pretty decent damage. Although I didn't realize that was going to eat through my sharpness as well. But anyway, those are the weapons we chose. Yuna, of course, doing true charge slash. She doesn't use rage slash, nor would I recommend it when you have no armor on.
Wow.
Yeah, we've tried very hard to get into rage slash. We just can't do it. And she lands those true charge slashes like every time. She's really good.
Damn.
So that's what we did.
I'm happier that she's good with greatsword, so maybe she'll quit the bow and just play greatsword. Just forget about the bow.
Her greatsword usage has she's still playing a lot of bow. But her greatsword usage has overtaken her bow. It's now basically her main weapon.
Yes! Down with the bow!
and what you should have just saw the expression on her face when I told her that the poplar thing seems to be rage slash. She looked at me like like how I look at food. She's like disgusted. She's like, "You play greatsword for the big damage. I want the big damage."
Well, yeah, but rage slash
like,
you can.
Well,
yeah,
but it's much easier not to hit. And she's like, "Just get better. Like, just don't miss." I'm
there
like,
you go.
"Oh."
Does she use tackle or guard tackle? I assume tackle, right?
Neither. She actually she hasn't really gotten into using tackling yet.
Oh,
So I think she has tackle on, but she doesn't engage with
she
it.
doesn't use it very
She
much.
just
Okay.
she just finds a way to time it out where she can just do the normal attacks to get into true.
Hmm.
But yeah, so we decided to do it naked, and it's really funny because the run that we finished it on, it was 11 p.m. on Sunday. So you imagine this was our entire weekend.
Jesus Christ.
I am 40 years old. It's a school night, a work night. I really want us to just win because I did not want to, with us always getting so close and me making dumb mistakes every now and then. I really did not want us to die. We knew the hunt like left and like really well at this point. It was just stupid mistakes. And so I started playing a lot more less aggressive and I would stand back and say, let's just wait for a clear opportunity to attack in the final phase. Let's bait it. Let's not,
Yeah.
don't risk it. Ian's like, fuck that. And she's like, "Meow." She's in there. But I played quite conservatively. And I was, because I had a good vantage point, I was able to warn her about certain attacks. And so someone was like, man, you sat most of this hunt out. Was the MVP. I'm like, yes, but several hunts before this, I was the MVP. Like, you don't understand. Like, I wanted to clear it. But she was the MVP. She knows the hunt better than I do. But it was actually really fun making that video because not only did I get a really fun collage of a lot of our deaths, just trying to show people how easy it is to just cart instantly during Narwa, but also there was several times where we knocked her out before she got to transform.
Yeah.
And if you do that, then you have to quit the hunt because
Really?
you can't win. Yeah, because if you are that good with aiming with the cannons and you do enough damage to flinch her before she's able to eat Ibushi, she will fall to the ground and remain normal Narwa, and then the fight just goes on and she never transforms and you'll time out. She'll never die.
I didn't know that could even happen. I guess I'm not that good with
Yeah.
those cannons.
So we found ways to combat that. And I would be like the endemic life guy, and we figured out the best places to use the beetles and stuff like that. So I recorded the whole run, which I'm very happy because this was a good accomplishment. I'm very proud of it. And we cleared it in 14 minutes and 23 seconds.
Which I'm ashamed to say is faster than I can usually clear it if I'm playing with a gun lens.
So I recorded it, but it was good because we failed so many times that I was able to walk through and talk about like the strategies and how to avoid every attack and things to watch out for. So it actually works as a really good tutorial video if somebody is having trouble with that boss. But yeah, we cleared it naked, 14 minutes 23. Very exciting. I was elated. Like that. We just screamed. We had to go outside and go, yeah, like that was a good accomplishment. So I was quite happy about that.
That is friggin' awesome. And now you're kind of like tempting me to go do the same, and I'm just like, no, I shouldn't do that.
I should start it. It'll be the all mother challenge. Do it naked.
Yeah. It's like
No
I
gunner.
should
No gunner weapons allowed. Not to say that they're too easy, but it would be much easier with a gunner weapon.
Oh yeah. 100% it would be way easier with a gunner weapon. But
I
it's
mean,
like
when we use gunner weapons, we clear the hunt in 6 minutes and like 12 seconds is our fastest time. So give us armor, it's easy.
It's one of those things that it just kind of like calls to that whole Dark Souls side of me. It's like, oh man, I should do it. Problem is that then I'm gonna be in there for a bunch of hours, and I could have been doing something maybe a little bit more productive with my time. And I'm just like, and then when I'm done, I'm like, why did I do this? Like, imagine me spending like 10 hours, then getting to the end, it's like I still haven't killed it. God damn it! What a waste of time.
A few fun things about this one. One, it was her idea. So like she's got the OG hunter DNA in her. Like I did not come up with the challenge. She came up with that. And one interesting thing was in the run that we won that I recorded, I carted right before Magnamalo appeared. And so you're able to see where he actually comes from. He actually jumps up and down from the Coral Palace high up above. You could see him entering the map and then going down into the hole. It's pretty cool. It's not something that you normally get to see. So
interesting.
Hopefully people can check it out. That was a hell of a journey. It took a lot long because again, we can get her to almost dead every time, and it's just like there's so
That
many
last
deaths
phase.
that happen.
Yeah.
Man.
That's where I got capped the very first time that I tried doing that fight was at that last phase triple cart, and I was just like, what? I was like, really? Okay. That's fair. It's interesting though that we're talking about All Mother Narwa because just today I was playing with a friend of mine. I haven't been playing a whole lot of Monster Hunter recently because I've been doing the relic grind in Final Fantasy XIV. That took a long time to do, but today I went back in.
Took?
What the relic grind?
Yeah.
Oh my god! Just even thinking about it, I mean, it's like listen, I need 60 items times 3. I need 180 items. So that can be achieved in like 180 different raid encounters or a mix of 180 fates and critical engagements on a separate. Dude, I don't know. That must have been somewhere in the vicinity of like 20 to 30 hours or something like that. And that was just like the final step.
All Mother will go by faster, so you should try it.
Yeah, exactly. All Mother should be significantly faster. But so me and a friend of mine we actually got together and played a little bit today, and he wanted to go do All Mother, and I went in there with my gun lance, and I've been saying this multiple times. I think that fight is terrible for gun lance. It's really bad. This is my opinion.
Matchup.
It's a very hard matchup. So we're doing it with the gun lance, and we killed it. And I tell my friend, you know what? Let's try something different. Let me bring in sword and shield. My friend plays a longsword. I was like, let me bring in sword and shield. Let's see how this goes if I bring in the sword and shield. So the first time that we killed her was like, I don't know, must have been 15 minutes, somewhere around that thing. We get in there. I go in there with the sword and shield. First thing that happens.
Immediately KOs. Yeah.
First thing that happens, Ibushi roars KO. Metsu Shoryugeki through the roar, KO.
Yeah,
he gets back up. He gets back up. He's just like completely messed up. Head's already broken, like completely destroyed, shredded. So like Ibushi just died pretty much almost instantly. And we get to Narwa, and it was almost the same thing. Like Narwa roars, Shoryugeki KO. Because I'm really lucky with the charm I have. I got a charm that has 2 tier 2 slots and 2 slugger, which is just like perfect for complementing sword and shield. So we destroyed Narwa, destroyed everything. And all it took was me swapping from the gun lance to the sword and shield. And I was just like, oh man, this sucks so much. It's such a bad matchup for gun lance. I can't believe it.
No, I do think that sword and shield is a really good matchup for that.
It is. Sword and shield
Great
is
sword
so
Great
amazing.
sword is also really good. So I was quite proud of myself. I also had another challenge that I did where we were doing we always do All Mothers every day. It's just a fun thing that we do. It's just like one of those things that she likes. She wants to get 100 in the bag. I think she's got like 80 or something down right now. But we did a challenge where she didn't want to do it because she doesn't play all the weapons. But I was like, let me change my weapon every time and see how our hunt times differ. So I've cleared the quest 14 times in a row with one weapon. And I'm proud to say that no matter what the weapon, we can clear it under 8 minutes every time.
Damn.
It just shows that I think it's if you have that much repetition, it actually will overtake it. So like, even with the gun lance, I was like, Rurikhan will be proud of me.
Yeah.
I was using the Rampage gun lance, and I was able.
If you got it sub 8 minutes with gun lance, not only I'm proud, I'm amazed. I can't do that.
Yes. That was fun, especially when like she does the Dragonators, because we're so good at it now. We just literally walk in. We don't have to, it's second nature at this point. We don't get hit by those things.
You know what I did earlier today with the Dragonators?
Did you try to blast dash inside?
No. I did even worse. I sharpened my way inside.
Yeah, we haven't done the cooking challenge, like cook meat and get sucked in. We got to try that.
Because like with the set that I was using, I think I sharpened slow. So I just like I put myself in position when the things start going. I was like, I think this is a good time to sharpen. So I sharpened. I just like slowly walk right through, and I was like, all right, that works.
Okay.
So that was pretty.
Yeah,
funny.
like when she's flying up above, it's like full burst. You just go crazy, and it's like it's so fun. That's
Yeah.
where I'm really enjoying that long shelling, is because they don't whiff like the normal
Yeah.
ones. Like almost all of them hit, and it feels so good.
I've been testing out different sets with the gun lance to find out which one deals the most damage. And this is my opinion from the sets that I've made so far. It is the Rampage gun lance. I mean, I use a long shelling. If you use normal, you might be able to get even more out of full burst, but obviously there's the spacing thing. But it is that gun lance with sharpness type 1 handicraft, protective polish, and then just get as much EFR as you can into that set. And that is really, really good. And then I personally also put Protective Polish 3 just to be super comfy about it. Protective Polish 3, speed sharpening, all of that stuff. And it feels friggin' great. Because the closest thing that you can get to the Rampage gun lance for that type of playstyle is the Rock Nikadaki gun lance. The problem is you realize that there's a difference of about 50 raw.
Ooh.
50 raw, as it turns out, is quite a bit. It's just a lot.
Oh yeah.
Makes quite a bit of difference. So yeah, it's real good. I freaking love that set. That set's very, very powerful, and you can get a lot of heavy damage out of it. But yeah, that's.
If anybody's listening to the podcast, if you're looking for a challenge, if you're looking for a fun thing to do, I invite you to try the All Mother challenge and beat that hunt naked. It's okay if you eat for insurance. We didn't I think we did actually for the run that we won. So eat for insurance if you have it. Absolutely.
Every cart counts.
Yeah, but no pets, no talismans, no armor, no decorations on your weapon. Go for it. Let us know how it goes if you try it. It's quite fun.
Oh man, you're making me want to do it. Stop.
Well, now I kind of want to do Volstrax naked. That I feel like I could do. I like that hunt a lot, but that would definitely be Sword and Shield. That hunt is so much easier for me with Sword and Shield versus any other weapon.
I think I've actually reached that point in Monster Hunter where I think I'm probably going to be running more Sword and Shield than Gun Lance. Like, Gun Lance is always going to be my main, and it's my favorite weapon. But you do tend to get to a point in the game where the Gun Lance just doesn't perform as well as other weapons, which I think I'm at that point. I can kill anything in the game with a Gun Lance, but if I want to improve my times, it's just you got to swap weapons. I mean, there's a reason the Gun Lance, if you go through the speed runs and whatnot, it's the weakest weapon of all. But that's fine. It's whatever.
Yeah.
Actually,
exactly.
That is a topic that I got sent by HCZS. Do you know who he is?
So I don't want to sound rude. I might actually know who it is, but I'm going to say no. And I just woke up, so give me a break.
He's from Team Darkside. He's a speedrunner. He's one of the Charge Blade speedrunners. I remember seeing a lot of his stuff back in World. Whenever I was looking up stuff for Charge Blade, and he sent me a message, and he wanted us to talk about weapon balancing and whether or not it matters in a PvE game like Monster Hunter, because since I just talked about how Gun Lance is, by speedrunning standards, one of the weakest weapons, is that important? Is it not important? How do we feel about it? And it's like, my initial thoughts on that, it's always something that frustrates me a little bit, because I feel that for you to be good at Gun Lance, to really have good times in terms of like speed runs and stuff like that, and the more competitive aspect of the community, so to speak, like you really need to put in a lot of effort, and it requires, I think, a lot more armor skills than most of the weapons, because it's like if you're talking about speed runs, you have to put a Vade Extender. There's no way around it. You have to play with a Vade Extender. You need to have artillery. You need to have whatever equivalent is to load up in whatever game. Because in this game, it's load shells. It's 2 points. In World, it would be magazine. In previous games, it would be +10 to load up. So in previous games, people wouldn't even go for load up. In previous games, people wouldn't even go for shells, because shells aren't even worth it in a lot of them. But, you really need to put it all on the line, and then you still need to play like really, really well. So let's just put it like this: I can get a lot closer to being like the doing good runs with a sword and shield than I probably ever will with a gunlance, despite the fact that I main gunlance. But whenever I see like Ryu, the Japanese gunlance player play, I'm always like, dude, what is going on right now? This is insane. So it's like, I wish the balance was a little bit tighter, but at the end of the day, it's like, I'm not going to let that hinder my fun, but I do really wish it was a little bit tighter, particularly with the gunlance. It's always so weird with the shelling levels and whatnot. There's always something weird there, but that's just my opinion because, I play the gunlance, so I always think about those things from the gunlance standpoint. But what do you think about the weapon balancing thing and all of that?
I don't want to come off the wrong way, but I will say, I mean, obviously in a speed running situation, everything matters.
Yeah.
So I would that's a no brainer. I would agree that from professional hunting speedrunner time attack, people want to use the weapon they want to use, then of course the desire is that the the best possible times would be close enough with each weapon. They wouldn't be too far apart. That being said, one, I don't know of any game that has multiple weapons or characters and they're all perfectly balanced. I think
Yeah.
it's a good thing to strive for, but I think it's unrealistic to expect. I mean, look at Smash, like fighting games as well. Like, are you gonna tell me every single character in Tekken, Street Fighter, Smash, they're all
No.
perfectly balanced? They're not. And I think that's just inevitable. So I think the bigger question here is the way I think about it is less like Street Fighter, where it's like this is the character, and like if the character is significantly behind the other characters in the majority of the matchups, that sucks because you like the character and you don't want to have to struggle more than other players, especially if they're skilled opponents. But I don't feel the gap. One, it's a PVE game, so I don't think it matters as much. Um, Two, the way I think about it is like the hunter is the same character, and you just choose the weapon that's best for the matchup. I can imagine there's got to be some, again, not speedrunning, but there's got to be some monsters. Like for me, I can get my fastest times on Chameleos using a gun lance. It's just how it is. It's just different weapons for me and Joe with different hunts. And I think that's a good thing. And so I feel like it's not a bad thing if you have to change up your weapon. Now, if you're going to tell me every matchup this weapon is is crap, then that would be bad. But I think the problem I see is most people are casual players or they're semi-hardcore. I'll say hardcore, but not speedrunners, right? And
Yeah.
so I think a lot of people see these conversations, which are deeply nuanced when it talks, especially TDS, like they're talking about a level of play that we're not even at that starting line, you know? So it's like there's
Yeah,
a
but
point where it doesn't matter, and there's a
that's
point where it does.
but that's the point. I think he's talking specifically on that level, right? He's talking specifically if we think that it is important for the speedrunning community, like what are our thoughts in regards to the balancing of weapons specifically for speedrunning. At least that's the vibe that I get,
Yeah,
considering that
I
he
don't.
is a
Maybe
speedrunner.
I'm just thinking about it. Maybe I'm just thinking about this differently. But I'm trying to come up with an analogy here that doesn't come up wrong. But like I'm not a speedrunner, but I would assume that weapons are not compared to other weapons. Like
No.
it is a gun lance speedrun, right? So you are competing with a gun lance. It's like trying to, like what's my fastest clear time in Mario using Luigi or using Toad? Like the best overall, okay, that sucks. If your favorite weapon can't be or your best weapon can't be like the top competitor against the other weapons, that sucks. And I would wish that they would try to balance it better, of course. But like a gun lance speed bracket is still a gun lance speed bracket, so you're competing against other gun lances, right? Isn't it like that, or is it, or do people look at it against like no, this is like versus Zinogre, like all weapons thrown in, and it's the
I
best out of
think
all of them? Because I think that's unfair to try to do that.
I think there's probably both. I think that there's the brackets of each weapon, and then there's just sometimes someone, I just want to get the fastest time I can possibly get on this monster, and it's like for that there's going to be weapons that simply you cannot even take. which in this
Yeah.
case, I would imagine the gun lens is going to be featured in a lot of them from the data that I've seen. Again, this is going off of some data that I've seen. I don't remember exactly who shared it, but I do remember it came from like an official source. An official source, someone in the community that did speedrunning, and
Yeah.
they had like specific numbers, and the gun lance was like really the lowest one of all, which surprised me. I was like, see, below the lance even? Like, really? Okay. But
That spiral
yeah.
thrust is ridiculous.
I guess
But
it is. I still don't
I
like
don't
it.
know. I mean, I feel for people who compete at that level because the amount of time and level and dedication they put into it is ridiculous, and they can't be a master at every weapon like at that level. So like if they really wanted to compete for the best time, but their weapons are not able to perform like the other ones, that sucks. But I would say for most people, I don't see it as being an issue in a PvE game.
Yeah.
Only because the gap isn't so bad that some weapons are just literally crap. Like if you pick this up, you are dragging us behind. Like you are really just like it's so bad. Like what do you do? Like nothing's like that, right?
Yeah.
They're all really good. And this is coming from somebody who, I main Prowler in Generations Ultimate. That
Prowler,
is not
listen,
making
Prowler was
Prowler's not
really
getting up
good.
there on this on it's really good, but it's not getting up there on the speed run rankings against Hellblade. You're not going to see
You were
Prowlers in the top 5.
you were doing better than me on gun lance. That's for damn sure. Shelling is a
But
joke.
then I look at myself, I'm like, if I can solo a G rank Furious Rajang under 10 minutes with a solo Prowler, it's good enough for me. Like that's a good run. So I don't mind because I'm not part of that community. I could see where some people mind. I just see so many people take those comments and say, and try to apply it to the broader spectrum of just the game in general, saying if you take this weapon, it is suboptimal,
Yeah,
it is not good. You're playing at a disadvantage. And I just like people I don't have faith in general players that they can separate the two topics. And so I see people shitting on certain weapons or choices to just normal players online playing the game. And I'm like, this is stupid. So that's on the fault of the listener. I'm not going to blame the speedrunners talking about it because they have every right and they're correct. They know the context. So it's the listener's responsibility to understand the context, and they just don't. So to me, the subject gets kind of annoying and I get eye rolly, but that just has to do with people who misinterpret the discussion. And I'm just like, but again, show me a game. Like, is there a game out there that is like a golden that has a dozen different weapons or classes and all of them are like nearly balanced? If so, I would love to know, just because I'd be fascinated. I just don't think
it
it's
just
possible.
doesn't happen. Yeah, it doesn't happen. I do wish they were a little bit tighter in some situations. Like I particularly feel for HCZS because I believe he's a Chargeblade main from the stuff that I've seen from him in the past. And I think that they really took some of the teeth out of the Chargeblade in this one because, in World, you could just like destroy everything with Chargeblade. Was complete powerhouse. And in Rise, they reined it back significantly.
Yeah. That being said, I've seen some crazy ass Chargeblade runs.
Oh, yeah.
Like really crazy. Like, damn. But I think the thing that's in common, like I saw someone who was like just melt a Kushala using the Ultra discharge. Like they didn't even use like the Savage Axe, like or whatever the spinny thing. And I think they killed it in like 3 minutes or 2.5 minutes or something. It was ridiculous.
I'm assuming they were using Axe Hopper. Was it Axe Hopper? No.
No. Just flat out good old
just
timing
meaty.
and positioning.
Oh damn.
Just using the Ultra discharge. I was like, damn. But you can't do that against small monsters, of course.
I mean,
I'm mixed on the topic. I mean, I'll admit I'm not proficient enough to even get involved in those conversations to say how is the balance between this weapon and other ones in the speedrunning context. I'm just not that good. But in a normal context, I think the balance could be a little bit better. I'm not naive. Like you were saying, there's certain weapons that feel like either they didn't get as much power or they require you to spam something. Like Lance basically is asking you to spam Spiral Thrust. It's that powerful that if you don't, like if you're going for a good time, it's going to be significantly less probably. But you know, I'm actually pretty happy with the balance this time. Outside of maybe Charge Blade, I could see people being a little like, come on, man. Like, what gives
No,
when
no,
it
no.
comes to
What
that?
what really needs a balance is the gun lens. Okay, Capcom, you need to bump those numbers up.
Figure,
These are rookie numbers.
yeah, figure it out.
But something that we actually got today in terms, I think it was today, right, that Monster Hunter posted about the stuff that they're going to be doing for E3.
Yeah, today for you, yesterday for me.
I was a little bit surprised that they said that we're going to be bringing news at our E3 showcase, and we're going to have news for the great Ace Attorney Chronicles, Monster Hunter Stories 2, Monster Hunter Rise, and Resident Evil Village, June
Yeah.
14th at 2:30 p.m. PDT, which is Pacific Daylight Time,
Give me
something like
that
that.
Capcom goodness, baby.
Yeah. So I was just surprised to even see Monster Hunter Rise mentioned on there because we just recently had 3.0 and they specifically said, okay, here's what's coming on the next couple of months. There's going to be Event Quest. There's going to be, there's going to be the DLC stuff and whatnot. And here's what's happening. So what do you think they're going to be announcing at E3? Because, I mean, I almost feel like to bring your game to E3, it means that you're bringing something interesting, right? It can't just be like, oh, by the way, here's one event. I don't think that
those
makes
days
sense.
Are over. I think those days are over where it was like you only bring it to E3 if you're showing off new stuff. That changed years ago. Like that's how it used to be, especially Tokyo Game Show as well. But now it's more, there's a few AAAs that are making the big splashes, but I think the general consensus from marketing and PR is that unless you have a big wave announcement, the flood of information, it could get lost. So just show what you have or small things coming up and remind people that it's around is actually fine, I think, for E3. And that's what there's like almost nothing. It's not like it was, like 15 years ago, 10 years ago. Like, I know what you're talking about. Like E3 was just like, boom, like you brought your best stuff. You spent money, you had stage presentations, and it was crazy. Especially with it being digital. Like I just don't like, it reminds me of like printed magazines. Like I talk to you sometimes, I mention how I'm disappointed in like Famitsu or printed magazines that they never have scoops or news anymore. It's always online first. So it's like, what's the point of buying a magazine? So when they say they're going to have Rise, I'm like, okay, well, they have update 3.1 end of June, so they'll tell us what it is. Here's the DLC and here's the event quests, a taste of it. I'm not expecting anything beyond that. However, I am excited at the idea that they might announce a demo for Stories 2. That seems plausible. That seems very plausible.
If they do announce it, it would have to come out like pretty close, like maybe even same day. Hey, by the way, here's the demo. Boom, it's available now in the eShop. You think?
Well, I mean, think about it. They said mid-June they're going to have a Capcom collab, which they'll announce.
Oh,
they
right.
Said that they're going to have the Palico layered armor, and also the Tsukino costume for your cat, the costume that you can get, the layered armor. So it sounds perfect to me, right? You show a new trailer for Rise, you announce a demo that's coming out like that weekend or whatever. Then you talk about Rise and you say, hey, we got this awesome collab. I hope it's Resident Evil. Please be Resident Evil.
Nope. Let me tell you what it is.
I want vampire girl costumes. Come on.
No. There's one thing. Come on. There's one thing that beats that. Come on, dude. A collaboration. No. A collaboration for Dragon's Dogma 2. Come on. It's easy.
But it's how can you collab with something that's not out?
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. They're gonna announce it through a collab. They're gonna announce Dragon's Dogma 2 through a collab with Monster Hunter. Yeah, right.
Dragon's Dogma 2 is now going to be an exclusive Rampage mode added to the game later.
No, don't do that. Don't even say that. You'll will it into existence.
I don't know. I'm looking at the roadmap now, and I think the writing is on the wall. They specifically say mid-June. It's like, okay, that's E3. Like, it's super obvious. So I'm curious to know, what do you think the Capcom collab is, though? Because they're going to have several. This is the first one. There's going to be three. The
first one is the first one is the Stories 2. Yeah. The next one's, it's like, I don't know. I'm still wishing it's Dragon's Dogma. I don't even want to think about anything else. Like, I don't even want to
Yeah.
think about it. I just want more Dragon's Dogma. Like, just give me Dragon's Dogma.
We do need an Amaterasu costume for our Palamutes, though, from Okami.
Okami. Yeah.
Yeah, we need that. Or even,
I'd take that.
what's his name? Our Rush from Mega Man.
The dog from Mega Man. That'd be okay. I'd also take like something from Devil May Cry, but I don't know because there's not anything happening with Devil May Cry at the moment. So I don't see a lot of opportunities there. So I think the most likely thing is probably going to be Village. It is what makes the most sense, is that it's going to be Village. Or considering that they're announcing something for Ace Attorney, it might be something for that.
Oh, that would be fun. They've always had really fun weapons and stuff like that. Like they had the objection, post sign that you used to hit people in the head with. That was great.
So, you know, that's the other thing that it could be. I see it either being Village or Ace Attorney, but I secretly deep down I just want it to be
Dogma too. Yeah,
Dragon's Dogma. I just said the words deep down to you. I'd love to hear about deep down, but that's never going to come out.
Yeah, there's two things I want from Capcom from the C3, which I don't think we're going to get either. One is I want Dragon's Dogma 2 to be announced.
Yeah,
badly.
Yeah.
But then again, I wouldn't want them to announce it until they have something to show. I wouldn't want them to just say, like that old tactic of like, it's now in development and that's it. And then you show me like one like logo. Like I don't want that.
Don't give us a Metroid Prime 4 situation, please. Thank you.
Yeah.
We're just like hung out to dry for like 4 years. And it's like, where is it? Where's Metroid Prime? It's still not out.
And until the day I die, I want X Troopers 2, and no one will understand it.
What the hell is X Troopers?
X Troopers is one of the best Capcom games ever. It was the child of Kojima who left. He was the producer, longtime Monster Hunter producer, but he had this idea. It's basically a Japanese version, an interpretation of Lost Planet. So it's incredibly anime and manga. It was just a really fun 3DS and PS. I think they had a PS3 version of it. It was just one of my favorite action anime type games. It was really good, and it never went to the West, and it's a crime that it never did. It was one of their weirdest, quirkiest, best titles. It was so good, and I will love it forever. And it had like a killer techno, like hardcore soundtrack. It was bopping. It was so good. But if you see videos of it, it's just like, damn, why didn't we get this? It's so cool. But yeah, X Troopers is one of my favorites. But yeah, I don't know. This year, I mean, they've got stories, they've got Village, so I can't. I mean, could they have something big to announce this year? Street Fighter 6? I don't know.
I doubt we're getting Street Fighter 6. I think it's not too soon. I don't know if it is too early or not, but I don't know. Street Fighter 5 was in kind of like a weird situation, the way that it launched, and then people were disappointed in it, and then they started adding more things. It was one of those games that launched incomplete, and people are very disappointed in it. But yeah, I don't know what the situation is because I don't really follow fighting games all that much. So yeah.
But people aren't actually like thinking there's going to be like big Monster Hunter Rise news or something, are they?
Of course they are. I was until you just.
Oh God, I'm sorry. Am I dream stomping people here?
Yeah, you are. But maybe that's a good thing. Maybe that will put people's expectations in check. But like to me, when you announce that, like, hey, I'm bringing my game to E3, it's like you better be coming to make a splash. Like I don't think of E3 as a place that just like, oh yeah, give me the minorest of minor updates about something. Like to me, E3 is a big thing. And it's like, I would almost argue that if you're just going to go there and talk about like 2 minor events for the game, you shouldn't, because people will be mad. Like I guarantee you people will be mad.
Which is weird because it's not like they're paying money and flying to a physical venue.
But still, it's still E3. Like E3's got like that bang to it. Like I don't know. I just always.
I think times have changed. I think people.
They have.
It's such
for sure.
It's such a saturated market right now that it's like, okay, it used to be all eyes are on gaming news. So if you make an announcement at E3, there are going to be eyes on it, and it's going to be amazing, and you're going to get the best amount of exposure, right, from marketing
Yeah.
sort of perspective. The way I feel that it's changed is that it's saturated now, and there's so many things going on that it's actually you get flooded out, and it's much more effective from a marketing standpoint that if you have a small to medium hit size announcement to just do it on your own terms. This is why you usually see like those, you'll get like those mid-size announcements like the weekend before E3 because they're trying to
Yeah.
get in before the rush of all the news, right?
But see,
So I
I
think
actually don't like I don't like publishers doing it like that because like they did that I think in 2019 and then probably again last year. I don't even remember how it was last year, but it's like when you spread all of these gaming news throughout the rest of the year, there's not this big splash around the E3 and the E3 time zone, and it just I don't know, it just doesn't work for me because you just spread everything out across. Like I'm pretty sure that I missed out on a bunch of announcements these last 2 years because you can't expect me to be paying attention throughout the whole year, checking out every little bit of news that every little developer is working on. Like that's crazy. Like there were a ton of stuff
yeah, but
that happened.
all
that I
you
was like,
need, I don't know, think about it from the other perspective though. Like you have an announcement of a new game or something really amazing, and that morning, 2 hours before your announcement or 1 hour, Sony does a goddamn presentation and drops a bombshell. All of Twitter's trending and talking about it. It's all anybody's like. People won't even notice that you had an announcement. It will be glossed over so fast.
I mean,
People will
but
be busy writing articles about the bigger announcement. It's you're battling each other.
yeah, it's a battle of, but it's like at the end of the day, I would almost argue that like if your announcement is that small, then people aren't
Don't even go. Yeah,
they're probably not even going to notice it regardless of when you talk
yeah.
about it. I feel like
Don't get people's hopes up, right?
yeah, the thing is I feel like during this time, during the E3 time, people's attention span, like they're all looking for things about everything. So they have that moment where they know, okay, this is the week. There's going to be news about every kinds of games. So they go and they check up, like, at least that's what I tend to do. Like they check up, oh, did they announce anything about
Yeah.
this game? Did they announce anything about that game? And it's like, if you expect people to hold that attention span for like 3-4 months, it's not going to happen. Like people pay attention during E3 and then the whole thing dies down, which is, I feel like what happened. Like I feel like video games didn't get as much coverage these past couple of years because of that, because the events were like spread all over the place. I know that I didn't cover nearly as many things as I usually tend to cover with E3 because of it.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a sourpuss. I don't know why. I just don't have. I've seen so many presentations and so many things during E3s that are just a refresh and a reminder of what's going on, that I just don't go in with big expectations, except unless it's a big like first party, like Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo. I expect to hear stuff. Other publishers, there'll be some surprises for sure, but I mean, yeah, no.
Well, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Right now, like we
Sorry to be
said, you
negative.
guys.
I'm usually positive, but I'm all like, maybe I'm just trying to protect myself.
Yeah, I mean,
to get hyped up for something.
It's a good thing to keep your expectations in check, but I still feel like if you bring your game to E3, you gotta bring the goods. Like the biggest thing that I want, besides the Capcom news and all that stuff, the biggest thing that I want from E3 is a release date for Elden Ring. Let's go.
Or news, or any news on it, right?
No. I don't want. No. Listen, I don't want any news on it. I just want a release date. I don't even want a gameplay trailer. I just want them to tell it's coming out.
Okay,
right here.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate.
Don't even show anything.
I'm going to play with your emotions. What if they say they do their presentation and at the end they say, as for Elden Ring, development is continuing smoothly, and we look forward to sharing more information later this year. That would be the worst case scenario, I think. That's even worse than a no. Is that worse than a no-show, or is it slightly better?
I mean, it's like the way that From Software does things. Usually, they tend to only really show things when it's close to release, which really shows how much they how much impacted the development of Elden Ring has been for whatever reason. Because usually they'll announce something and then it's like 6 months later or something like that, the game will be out.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't surprise me if they're planning on releasing it next year. It wouldn't surprise me if they said, we'll show something at the Video Game Awards or something like that. But see, that's the thing. If they show it at the Video Game Awards, that's cool, because that's also another time that people are paying attention to gaming news. The problem is like, oh yeah, we'll show you something, I don't know, in September. It's like, what the hell's happening in September? Who cares? Nobody's watching it in September. Come on.
Wait a second. Is 2022 going to be the year of Norse? Isn't God of War
Yes.
went to next year, and that's Norse.
Yeah, but I don't think Elden Ring is
Hellblade
Norse.
2.
Well, actually,
Hellblade
Elden Ring
2,
does have Norse things. Yeah.
Yeah, Elden Ring is kind of like Norse inspired, right?
Yes. Now that I
And then-
remind the trailer, yes.
And then Hellblade 2, which I'm really looking forward to. That'll probably be next year. That's Norse as well. It's like the Norse invasion. I love it.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Like a couple of years ago, we had like Sekiro and what's the name of that other game that I really like? My brain is so bad. The game. Crap, that PlayStation exclusive game, and I love this game, and I can't remember the name. Oh God!
Horizon?
No, it's a samurai game.
Oh, a samurai game.
Jesus, I can't believe I forgot the name. It's right on the tip of my tongue.
Okay, it's Sony samurai game.
Island of Tsushima, Ghost of Tsushima.
Ghost of Tsushima.
Ghost of
yeah.
Tsushima. Jesus, there's no. But see, like Ghost of Tsushima also came out. Sekiro came out. It's like we
Says the
have this.
Japan.
We had this samurai phase. Now we're going into the Norse phase. It almost seems like the industry's in lockstep. It's like, oh yeah,
We're like, what was it? Medieval, Japan, Norse. Like, what's next? Are we going back to Greece or like where are we going?
yeah. We've been there. Ubisoft poisoned that well with Odyssey. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Just poisoned the well. Nobody's doing that again.
Go back to Egypt, maybe. I don't know.
It's crazy. But
We're going to the moon. That's where we're going. Yeah, I don't know.
I'm going to the moon in November. I don't know about you. To November, I'm going to the moon. Final Fantasy XIV, going to the moon.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they're actually gonna take players to the moon. I was like, this is crazy. Let's go to the moon. It's
That's
gonna be
funny.
awesome. Square Enix has a presentation about. I think they're including some Final Fantasy stuff on there. You think they'll talk about 16? That would be
I would
awesome.
assume so, right? There's got to be
It's
a
like
new
it was.
trailer. I mean,
It was
that
supposed
first
to
trailer
come out
was
this year.
media enough.
Yeah, but it was
first trailer
supposed to
was
come
media
out
enough.
this year. Maybe they're delaying it because of COVID as well. But yeah.
Who knows?
Because like, if it's coming out this year, it'll be competing with 14. They can't do that. They can't put, especially it's even by the same developers. It's not even just the same publisher. It's the same team working on both games. There's no way
but
both of them
14
can.
will never not. But every year, 14 is going to have something amazing coming out, right?
Well, yeah, no, because they have 1 year where they do the expansion, then 1 year no expansion, then another year another expansion. So it's like it's a
I
2
see.
year
So
cycle.
This is the year then, right, for the big one.
Yeah, this is the year for expansion. So I would assume it's like for 16 to have come out and give enough of a leeway. I feel like it would have to come out before holiday season, which is weird, right? Because like a game like
Yeah.
16, holiday season would make the most sense. And they're like
No clue.
remastering 7 remake. It's the remaster. It's the remaster of a remake.
I still don't think there's enough PS5s in the market for it yet. I think it would actually make sense if, just from a sales standpoint, if they said, to make it the best version we can possibly make, it'll be coming out summer 2022. Please look forward. And then Sony needs to get their butt in gear into making more PlayStation 5s and getting them more available to consumers.
They
that
can't.
want them.
They don't have semiconductors. It doesn't exist.
I know.
It's
So-
weird.
Speaking about, this is totally jumping subject, but it's talking about lucky and just the hardship of getting hardware right now because of everything. I went through some drama trying to get my new gaming monitor, but I finally got it, and I'm really happy.
Rats. Is it
So
good?
it's HDMI 2.1, 4K, 1 millisecond response time, 165 hertz support.
Oh my God,
IPS
I'm so
panel,
jelly.
27 inches Acer.
I IPS with 1 millisecond?
Yep,
That's like
4K,
that's not even
and
a needle
it's
in a haystack. That's like a needle
yep,
in I don't
and one
know
and
million haystacks. One needle.
but but that's the thing. Trying to get something with HDMI 2.1, they're just slowly coming out, and so I looked this thing up. There's not even reviews yet for it online because people in the States don't even have it. Like it's been I've had my order for this thing canceled and replaced about I want to say 6 times
Jesus.
because they just don't know when the factory is going to be able to ship it because of the shortages. And so they finally secured it and they shipped it directly from China. And then like the customs people had to call me and ask me what the hell it was and all that kind of stuff. But no dead pixels or anything weird because I know there's always a
Thank God.
risk when you're an early adopter. And
Yep.
it's beautiful. And when I finally stop playing Monster Hunter Rise and I get back to my Xbox, it's going to be glorious. Because I put World on that. I was just like, oh, it was
Dude.
glorious.
Yeah, especially because
So
I believe the world can probably break 60 FPS if you have the monitor for it, right?
I don't know. I think they lock it. Maybe they don't.
Ah,
I don't know.
it's
If
a
they
damn
don't, then
shame.
I'm sure it'll be fine. But I put it in
Dude.
resolution mode and 4K, and it was so delicious.
Jesus, yeah, it looks so good.
And then
Even
I put on Ori in 120 FPS mode, 4K, and I had Yoon, and Yoon was like, "This thing looks like moving art." I'm like, "Yeah, it's pretty
yeah,
amazing."
Yori's art style is amazing.
That with 120 FPS, it feels like you're watching something like fully animated. It's absolutely gorgeous. So
But yeah, that's really good news. Did you try it with Rise yet at all? Because I mean, it still has HDMI. You should be able to hook up your Switch to it.
yeah,
I
I
mean,
did. I mean, the upscaling is fine, but it's just
it
Rise
doesn't
it
look
doesn't
tremendously
change.
better. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like it should look.
Okay. But yeah, that was kind of like our E3 segment. Our
Yeah,
thoughts
but
on
give me a
stuff
demo
that's
for
coming.
Stories. I think it's coming.
Yeah,
I feel it'll come because we got a demo for Stories 1, if you
it would
remember.
make
Maybe
sense.
you don't. It would make perfect sense to give a demo for it. So give us the first chapter, That's what they did in the first game.
So now I have another topic. This one's a little bit different. I wanted to get your take on what do you think about remakes of Monster Hunter games? Like it, not just remakes, remasters, whatever you want to call it, but like imagine, for instance, if they would remake Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate. Do you think that'd be a good thing? Do you think that'd be a bad thing? Because I personally, I constantly think about 4 Ultimate. Like I want to go back and play 4 Ultimate again. I just don't want to do it on the 3DS. I'm always thinking about 4 Ultimate. It's one of my favorite Monster Hunters. Like Rise is my favorite, right? But 4 Ultimate had that special adventure that we always bring up that it's just like, oh, man, really would like to replay it at some point.
Hmm. It's weird because I like one thing's for sure. The Monster Hunter team won't be doing the remaster work. Like they've proven time and time again they're not interested in just remaking their same old stuff. They want to be working on new stuff. I mean, to the point that you know they actually attempted to remaster a game, which was Monster Hunter Tri, and they ended up making Tri G. Like they just keep adding new stuff. They can't, or look at Monster Hunter G. They was supposed to just be like a re-release or something, and they ended up just adding in like new weapons and stuff. Like they just can't stop making new stuff. That's what they want to do, and I respect that. So I think if they were going to have it wouldn't be a remake. It would be a remaster for sure because you can't remake those things like with these today. They weren't designed for the mechanics of today, and they don't play like the games of today. Like they do have their age. The game design is aged. Still a damn good game. So I think they would have to be like they agree to have some porting like M2 or whoever it is, like they do like really good ports, have them do like a port remaster, and it would have to be like an arcade collection, like every Monster Hunter port like from 1 to 4G all on one disc, and then almost like the Mega Man arcade selection. You just choose which Monster Hunter do you want to play. I don't see them. I don't know how that would. I'm using all this weird marketing word today, but I don't know how that would hurdle. Like they would have to have projections that give at least like 30% profit on that, right? and I don't know how it would hurdle and get greenlit because I see it being so niche that and a possible distraction from their newer stuff that I don't know how they would say this is how much unless they could find a way to do it dirty ass cheap, which does not sound like Capcom to me.
Yeah, and
I just
doesn't even
don't
sound
know.
like a good idea. The words "dirty ass cheap" is not something that I want to hear when I'm talking about Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate. I'm just like, no.
And they got all but they got all this stuff for the Switch, so they wouldn't want to just throw on the Monster Hunter collection on Switch because then you're distracting people from stories, and then after stories, I'm sure we're going to have Rise Ultimate.
Yeah.
Maybe after that, it would be a really good time for them to say, "Hey, we're going to put the Monster Hunter collection, on the Switch." Like that would be cool. If they like outsourced
an
it.
HD collection type thing.
Because like at that point, like if you have Monster Hunter 6 and it's like for PS5 and Xbox Series X and PC, then you just finished with Rise Ultimate. You can give the Switch owners or the Switch
The
2
3DS
owners,
games.
whatever it is, give them the older games as a remaster. That could be nice, I think. Of course, I would play them.
Yeah.
Do I think it's plausible? Not really. Outside the scenario I was talking about, but I would love to see them. But I mean, they would still have to do like reworkings of the bottom screen and all that. It's not just an easy old like.
Yeah,
like they would have to give up.
Like for instance, the port of Double Cross into becoming GU, which that's the only one we got in the West, was the Switch version. In Japan, they actually got the 3DS version still. But the port
Have you
of
seen-
that. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry. There was.
I'm
some
just
lag
saying
here.
that the port of that it took some work specifically because of what you were talking about with the lower screen of the 3DS. They had to like work that into the UI of GU and whatnot. I don't know what Double Cross looked like. I'm assuming
No, I was gonna say
similar
like
generations,
look at
but-
look at the sales figures and the projections for HD remasters. They're pathetically low. You would think, oh
Okay.
wow, like you're putting like Monster Hunter Portable Third or whatever was put on PS3, right, as an HD version.
Yeah.
I think their projection was 100,000 units. So when they sold like 150,000, they're like, yeah. The Switch one, the projection was like 200,000 units. That's it. We're talking small numbers here,
The
and that's
Switch
for the most
the Switch
that's for
one
the
you're
most
talking about
recent game
GU.
that people are playing. Yeah,
The Switch
GU.
one, how much did they actually sell though of GU? Do you
A
know?
few 100,000, I think,
Okay.
on Switch.
So yeah.
Nothing. We're not talking like a million sales, So like,
Yeah.
and that's the latest game, allowing you to bring your save data over. Now we're talking about like old games that the only people who'd be interested are hardcore fans that probably played them already.
Yeah.
I just,
You're right.
I just don't know how
There's-
they can get
there's
the
not-
sales forecast.
There's not a mass appeal enough for it to get those remasters
Yeah.
or remakes. I just
But hey,
really
you know
want
what?
them.
You can go and buy a Nintendo 3DS right now.
I
and
have
play
a
them.
Nintendo 3DS. I have one. I just don't want to play it. I don't want to. I want to play it on a big screen, or at least on a screen as big as my Switch. The 3DS screen is
Oh,
too
I don't-
small. Listen,
don't
listen.
know. It-
You
it's
see
quite
these
pixelated
glasses?
when it's on the big
listen,
screen.
when I take these glasses off, I'm blind as a bat. I can't see anything anymore. It's like I have the topics in front of me, and this monitor's like a meter away from me,
Yeah.
and I can
see
barely
it.
read the
Blurry.
topics that are in front of me. Everything's blurry. So, yeah.
Ah, man.
So it's like, imagine these eyes looking at a tiny ass 3D. Like, I'm getting old.
We
too
we
old
need
for
to get a
3DS.
subject. We need a subject today that where I sound positive. I feel like I'm being a real negative Narga today. Like I'm just shooting down and say no, I don't think so. No, I don't think so. But they're great suggestions and ideas and things that I want. I just don't realistically think we'll get it.
Okay, so
I would love it.
I'm gonna take us to something that will allow you to be more positive then.
Yay!
So people constantly ask us things like, what is your favorite weapon? What is your favorite monster? All of that stuff. Then I'm going to bring something different. What do you think is the most underrated monster in the entire franchise?
in the entire franchise.
I mean, minus Frontier, because you didn't play Frontier, right? And the online
Correct.
ones. Yeah, so just like from the mainline titles. Mainline and portables.
Underrated.
Yeah, the most underrated. The Underdog, the one that nobody really thinks that much about, but it's actually friggin' amazing. I already know mine. Maybe he's not that underrated though, but it's pretty freaking cool. I love him.
I guess I'll just give you a random answer because I haven't had time to think deeply about this,
I'll tell you
and
what.
so I'm going to forget about.
Tell you what. I'll tell you mine while
No,
you
no,
think about yours.
I'll splurt it out because it's the first thing. I don't know why it hit my head. There's two things that came to mind, but one of them is not underrated. People love the monsters, so it doesn't count. Which would be Kurupeko.
Damn it!
That's the first thing that came. But I said no. It's
That's what I was gonna say.
That's not
like
underrated.
it?
People love that. Yeah,
Okay.
don't they? I mean, I certainly do.
I don't know. I love Kurupeko. I feel like not enough people talk about Kurupeko. It's interesting. We both thought of the same monster. God
I
damn.
mean, and they put Kurupeko on like the hat of like Sendy the mailman, and like, there's love. I was gonna say if it's underrated, like people just don't talk about the monster, but it was really cool. I would say Gobble or Gobble or however you want to pronounce it. That's the huge pin cushion monster.
An underwater fight, really? An underwater fight? You gonna do me like that?
I was a lancer. Underwater was like easier than on ground.
Oh man, no, it's an underwater fight. Doesn't count.
I don't know, but Kurupeko, I'm with you. I love Kurupeko, and if it's underrated, then it shouldn't be because that is.
I don't know if I don't know if it's underrated or not. I just feel like we haven't seen Kurupeko in so long that it's just like I want to.
Yeah, I want to see it back.
Yeah, I want to see.
It's funny. We had the same answer.
It's like that time that we were talking about. Oh, which monster would you like to see the most? Oh, Duran Moran. Yeah, Moran, dude. Moran would be friggin' amazing.
Hey, we don't call this the Third Fleet podcast for nothing, right?
So, I have a couple of questions here from the community that I wanted to start us off with. And the first one I think is very interesting. This is from Ralph Lauren Thaddeus. What is the game reception like in Japan since it's been out a couple of months? Are we seeing the same discussions that we see in the West? So people complaining about the difficulty being too easy, lack of endgame, and saying the game needs more updates? Or is the situation different there? How are the players receiving the game? If you are aware of that.
I mean, I follow and watch a lot of creators here in Japan. And there's one thing I'll just say in general, though, is that although it's slowly changing, not for the better, in general, like people aren't really that negative online in general compared to like the West. Like people don't vocalize their displeasure at stuff. They generally would keep that to themselves. I think it might be a cultural thing. That's changing. A lot of the younger kids now, they purposely are negative or something to get attention.
Yeah.
It's becoming more like the West, but I would say traditionally, like you just don't see people talking about stuff that they weren't happy about. You see them just focusing on the stuff that they like. So I would say like there is definitely going to be a subset of people that have said, this game doesn't have quite as much content as we want it to have. I've never seen any videos or discussion points on Twitter about the difficulty. I think Japan's been fine with it in general. Everything I've seen has been positive. I mean, I haven't seen negative things. The Wikipedias are as active as ever. Forums are active as ever. People are having fun. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it doesn't feel quite like the excitement you get around a numbered title release. Still in Japan, those are always a big deal. Like when you have like 3 or 4, like a numbered release is a big thing. But it's selling fantastic here, and reception seems to be very good. I mean, I guess I would say I wouldn't know, just because I just don't think people are that negative in general, especially compared to the West.
Yeah.
If we don't voice our displeasure at volume 200, then they won't change it ever. So we must. It's our duty, and it's like, I mean, you got a point. It's good to say, hey, we want this to be better, but it's like sometimes it's like Capcom can make a post on Twitter about like anything, and then you're gonna have negative comments like, "What about this? What about that?" And it's like, God, guys, shut up.
It's definitely been very different than I don't feel like this was as bad during World, despite the fact that if you look at base world and you look at Rise, I still say that, Rise has more monsters. Like, we've been getting updates on a more consistent basis. And there's always the people that say, one of the more common things that I've seen is like people saying, oh, but 3.0 is just what the game should have been at launch. And it's like, that's a big assumption. Like maybe 2.0, but still, I don't know.
Let's say it is. Okay, you got a complete game. Are you not happy?
I don't know, but there's an interesting side to this though, because on the flip side of this, I've actually seen people that appreciated the release pacing of the content a little bit more spaced out. And I know that a lot of people are going to be like, no way, I don't believe you're lying. No, I've seen these comments because very much like Gaijin said earlier in this video, he wakes up and he reads his comments on YouTube Studio. I usually do it before I go to bed. So like I'll be in bed late at night looking through the comments, reading it. So like there are people that actually preferred it that way because of the fact that
we talked about it, yeah.
Yeah, but because of the fact that they didn't get spoiled the things as fast. Yeah. Because like in World, day one or whatever, there was people with, oh, here's Xeno'jiiva. And this is just like right on the thumbnails. Like I remember even like 3 or 4 weeks after the game was out, there was like an event that they put up for Xeno'jiiva. And someone came to me and said, hey, I really respect what you did. And what I had done was for that event, I blurred out the image of what was going on. I was like, there's also this event for the final boss fight. And then I just blurred everything so that you couldn't tell what it was. And it was like, I respect that you did that. But yeah, it's one of those things. This is not an ideal release schedule because obviously we would like to have more content when the game comes out. But for some people, that actually turned out for the best because they were able to actually browse social media without getting instantly spoiled to everything about the game.
Yeah. I mean, I liked it just because it created an opportunity for some different weapons to shine at different periods.
Yeah.
If all the 2.0 stuff was there, then a lot of the 1.0 stuff that we loved and we enjoyed and we made, we wouldn't have given much of a shit about. So as I've said many times in the podcast, I'm very happy with how this has played out. And also, what other awesome games are you getting right now during the pandemic, huh? It's like, I think pandemic stress is also really high, which is understandable.
Yeah, that might be one that people are vocalizing it a lot more on the internet.
I think so. I mean, it's hard times for a lot of people right now. So, you're going to see things more negative than usual, and your expectations might be even higher because everything else in the world is not exactly going according to Keikaku. So, Keikaku means plan.
According to Keikaku is the plan.
Keikaku means plan. Oh god, it's a joke they put in Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate. Where, like all according to plan, and the cat says all according to Keikaku, then he says Keikaku means plan.
Just like I remember them saying a lot, Neko means cat.
Yeah. But I'm happy.
It's good to see that in Japan at least it's not quite as negative as it has been.
I'd say it's very positive here. The reception has been great. I never see hugely negative. I mean, like, for example, there are people who vocalize when they don't like stuff. Like, even Japan, people were pretty upset about the slap-on designs of World.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't necessarily... But the thing is I don't know if I would call it upset. The way that the community in general here in Japan vocalizes it is more in a form of disappointment than anger. Where I think in the West, probably myself included, we have a tendency to be a little bit like more offended and be like, "What the fuck?" I'm sorry for swearing. I said I wouldn't swear. So if you're listening to this with a young person, I'm really sorry. I'm going to try to watch it. Don't use these words. It's a bad habit from the '80s, and don't mimic me, please. Because you don't sound very smart when you talk like that. So I apologize. It won't help you in the real world, trust me. So yeah, I don't know. I just think the tone is generally different. So,
but I mean,
people love drama these days. The young kids, man, they love the drama. So
they did give us those chicken drumsticks. So I think we were justified in our anger. So there's there's something there.
Yeah, but I would say reception has been good. But I also believe the reception has been good in the West.
Yeah.
I think I
I think by
think
and large, people
Twitter
still
is
enjoy it.
if you have 2% of people who didn't like it, that is going to make up 80% of what you see on Twitter.
Yeah.
Like it's a magnifying glass on that smaller portion. I think the majority of people are having a really good time. So I think reception is good. Were
And
expectations set ridiculously high after Iceborne? Of course, it's the first Monster Hunter game to really break into the West, like to world-shattering sales. So of course, when you compare a smaller, more comfy release on the Switch compared to coming off that, it's gonna come off a little weird to some people.
I think there's also something to be said that I feel like in the West, probably a lot of people play more solo than necessarily multiplayer. At least that's kind of the vibe I get because for me, when I'm playing with friends, I'm not concerned about what I have to grind or not grind. I'm more concerned about, hey, let's go kill a monster. Like I said, just today, me and my friend when we were playing today, it's not like we were grinding to craft something. We don't need to craft anything. We both have our sets pretty much made. I can go make
Yeah,
sets for other weapons if I want to. I've made one set for every single melee weapon now. I have one set for every melee weapon. I need to start actually posting those on the channel, but I've been really lazy about it. But
same.
so me and my friend, we just went out and hey, let's go kill Allmother. We killed Allmother. After that, it's like, hey, we're gonna hunt now. Oh yeah, let's go kill a couple of Apexes. Test out these sets that we got going here, and we just go hunt because it's fun. And we're not trying to hunt just for the grind. There is such a thing as just hunting for fun. You don't necessarily
Hmm.
just require to always have a carrot in front
Reward.
of you. Yeah, it's like I'm happy because, like you see, for instance, that is something that World of Warcraft has done. To give an idea, because I used to play World of Warcraft, and I know a lot of people that play WoW, and they're super disappointed in the game because what they did with the current expansion is there's always stuff for you to do, but it's not
Yeah, they just
necessarily
locked it all
things that,
right.
yeah, it's not necessarily something that you want to do. Like, it's like, hey, man, there's always more dailies you can go do at the mall, and you can get rewarded for it. You're going to get the material that you need to put sockets into your gear to make it more powerful, but it's not fun. You know,
Yeah.
I'd rather just like, hey, I don't have to do this, but at least it's fun, so I can do it. So I prefer that. But then again,
You
it's
know what I did last night? I finally completed my decoration
all of the
collection.
decorations.
All 306 of them.
Damn.
Done. I own one, like if it's level 7 skill, I've got 7 decos. If it's 4, I've got 4. There's 300. I think it's 300 and I think it's 306. I have them all. So
I
I will never ever have to buy a decoration again.
I haven't done that, but I can guarantee something that I have that you don't. I don't know what I have that you don't when it comes to decorations. I have 5 might jewels. I bet you don't.
Did you buy too many? Wait, well, I have 6 blast resistance decorations. I actually sold off the surplus because I was upset at seeing that I had overbought them. So I actually sold them.
Yeah, I need to sell those 2 might jewels as well. It was because I remember thinking to myself, there's no way I crafted might jewels yet because I haven't used might at all. There's no way. So I just went in there. I didn't even look. I'm like, for this set, I need 2 might jewels. So I ended up just crafting 2 might jewels. And then I look at the number. Wait, why does it say 5 on there? God damn it. I had crafted mighty jewels already.
There's one funny thing that Capcom never took into consideration was people making lots of multiples of rampage weapons. Because if you go, like, for example, I think I have like 4 bows and like 4 dual blades. If you go into them and you go to upgrade, it gives you like a little list. It says, which one do you want to upgrade? It doesn't show you the details.
Yeah.
So you're like, I don't know which one is which. Like, how am I supposed to know? So you have to go back into the equipment scene, see the order in which it lists it, and then say, okay, it's the 3rd one. It's really dumb.
Oh yeah,
Like, roll
that's
back.
why
Which one would you like to roll back? I'm like, I don't know which one is which.
I actually made that mistake, and it wasn't because of rampage weapons. It was because I was trying to get an inherited skill for the Raknikadaki gun lance, and I messed it up so bad with those menus. I just like I downgraded the wrong one, then I upgraded the wrong one again, and I was like, "What is going on? Why can I not figure this out? This is not that complicated." But yeah, I wanted to go and get what is it, Wyvern exploit or whatever it is, because you can get that, and that also increases shelling levels. So I was like, "Oh, I'll get this on the Arachna Gunlands." It increases your damage against everything that's a Wyvern, including shells. That thing actually scales shells, which is weird.
Nice.
Because nothing scales shells, but yeah. Okay.
I started a new video idea last night. I have there's so many videos I want to make, but there was one that I was thinking about. I was like, why are some of the skills still vague as hell? Like if you like the armor skills, right? Like some are very specific and say like plus 10%, plus 15% when a monster is enraged. And you get it, you understand it. But then other ones are like, if you do this for a certain period of time, you'll get an attack boost. It's like, what's the extended period of time?
Exactly.
Like, how much attack are we talking here?
Exactly.
And I'm like, come on. So I made a list last night of all the skills that could use more information for people to actually know what the hell they do. And I have like 75.
Do those include rampage skills?
See, that's the thing. As I was thinking about it, but then I was like, well, I got to cut it off because if I otherwise it's going to be way too long of a video. So I was like, why don't I just
There's no such thing as too long of a video.
I know. We'll focus on just armor, like decorations, and I'll talk about the souls, and that's about it. And then I'll save the rampage if people really like it. Maybe I'll do that. And it's gonna be so long. I'm just gonna take a screenshot of the skill and just write over it. Like, here's what they should have wrote. Here's what it means. But now I have to go through the work and double check everything and write down all the numbers and not get it wrong because people will prod me if I get it wrong. So. Was it 3 steps forward, 1 step back? So
that's the way it always goes.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna bring us in with another community question. This one's from Mookie Mocha or Mookie Mosha, I don't know. What is your favorite endgame loop of all the Monster Hunters you've played? I can start with mine if you want to think about yours for a little bit. I mean, mine's pretty easy. It is hands down Iceborne. Like, Rise is my favorite Monster Hunter game. Iceborne was my favorite endgame loop, even if just for the surprise effect, because I didn't know that the guiding lands were a thing when I got to the ending of Iceborne. I was not aware of this because, when I was playing through Iceborne, I tried keeping myself as spoiler-free as possible, which is why I was so disappointed when someone just came into my chat and just asked, has he fought Silver and Gold yet? And I was like, oh.
Don't be like me. Censor yourself.
But basically, so when I got to the end game and they show you guiding lands, and I know that a lot of people didn't like guiding lands. I just really liked it because here's a place I can go and I can hunt monsters, and they're giving me these little bars to fill, which does give you that added dopamine drip going. It's like, oh, I'm leveling up this thing. But it was really cool because people instantly figured out, okay, you can very easily take 2 of them to max level or whatever. So I started organizing myself with my friends. Like, look, I'll do forest. You do, I don't know, Wildspire Wastes or whatever. And then they come up with new areas for it. Like, I thought that was really cool. I really enjoyed it. I think you didn't like Guiding Lands as much, did you?
At first. And then the changes that they made to the Guiding Lands. Yeah, they made some really good changes to the Guiding Lands to the point that I ended up really enjoying them. I didn't like it that much at the start. But stuff like all the lures the banish balls, like all the other stuff that they had, like they made a lot of really good improvements, being able to lock areas and stuff. Like at the very first, it was a little rough.
At the very start, it was extremely rough because for us, for instance, whenever we wanted to hunt, we would always have to go to each other's zone. So like if we wanted to hunt something and the what's the name of the sewers? I forget. I always called it the sewers, but it's not really the sewers. Whatever, you guys know the part I'm talking about where Valhazak lives. Whenever we wanted to go there, we'd have to go to one of my friends' guiding lands because
Yeah.
you couldn't hunt stuff in mine because it would lower the other ones. So it's like it would always be this thing that would have to plan out, and then later it
Yeah.
became a little bit more. We would still have to kind of like plan it if you wanted to hunt like a high level monster, but at least then you could lock it. So it's like, oh no, there's a Radabon that just showed up. Don't hit the Radabon. Someone would hit the Radabon. Boom. 5 parts broken. Just like leveling up the sewers all the way. And I'm like, no, you destroyed my guiding lands. And people would sometimes do it on purpose too. They'd just like start hunting other things in your guiding lands to mess up.
Sabotage it, yeah.
But I still think that was a really fun endgame loop. The guiding lands I thought was really fun. But, it was also a big portion of that was the surprise because again, you just reach the end of the game. It's like you think you've seen all the maps and suddenly it's like, oh no, here's this one map that has elements of every other map that you've seen so far. It's like, this is amazing. This is awesome. And I just really enjoyed that.
Yeah, so I think for me, endgame loop, the concept is still relatively new in my opinion. I think it started with Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate with the guild quests and the relic weapons and the honing of your weapon. Before that, like Monster Hunter 3U, the end loop was you just hunted for fun.
Yeah.
Like there
So
was no
it's the
loop.
same. It's the same thing as Rise, and we're talking about an ultimate version. Yeah. Here's what you guys need to know. By the way, like I did not play a lot of like G rank. Actually, I didn't play any of G rank before GU. I only went to G rank in GU, and then I went master rank on World, of course. But in the other games, I never really got to play too much G rank because, I couldn't do content on it. I couldn't make videos on it. So it was just like, it's hard to justify the amount of time that I would have to put into the game if I'm not creating content for it. But keep going, please.
Yeah, so it's like 3G, or 3 Ultimate. We just played it because it was fun, and the monsters were really fun. Then 4 came along and introduced the idea of the end game loop, so to say, which was the Apex. First, it was the guild quest saying, "Hey, if you want, it's a randomly generated map. You can get a really great randomized weapon." And then 4U introduced the concept of honing with the Apex, so you were able to augment your weapons for attack, defense, or healing. That was a brand new introduction to the series. So those were like the end game loop has always been, in my opinion, just playing the game for fun. Making new weapons, just playing with friends or playing online. So to me, this is just icing on the cake for the people who want it. The question is the in-game loop, that feature, is it necessary or is it just an optional fun thing to do? So you had those, and those were okay. I mean, Guild Quest had some issues where, there was only certain monsters that paid out the better odds of getting a rare weapon, so it was basically just hunting the same monsters over and over again. It was also tedious because you had to be the host to level up your quest to get to the difficulty level. It was like the guiding lands in a way, actually. They're all versions of the same thing, of the same idea. Then when Monster Hunter, Cross came out, or Generations came out, it was the Deviants. So they introduced deviants, which were again, the host had to do it. It leveled it up, and as it leveled up, it got harder, and you would get better rewards. And then you can craft the deviant weapons and armor. Then they ran into issues where the deviant stuff was just way better than the rest of the monsters. So I think there were some balancing issues, and it was tedious as hell. Trying to get a full set took a lot.
It's like this is one of those things that I have a lot of experience in. The friggin' deviants, Jesus Christ. See, this is why I don't like Lagombi anymore. It was because of the deviants. I had to fight Snow Baron so many goddamn times.
So many times.
So that my friend could get his aerial set that he wanted to get. And I was like, dude, I can't stand this monster anymore. And then we fought the EX version, and only my friend got rewarded for it. And I'm just like, dude, I suffered right here alongside you. And now they want me to go suffer again if I want to get this crown? Man, screw this. This is garbage.
Yeah. Then I think in World, in my opinion, is the end game was basically hunting for good drops for decorations, which I hated because that is the core gameplay. So you should make that RNG, in my opinion. So that I had reservations about, but I mean, the end game was always there for me because again, I started at 3G. So the end game to me is just playing the game and having fun. This is just icing on top. But when you start taking away my ability to even use a core essential skill like guard up,
Yeah.
like we got issues. Like that I didn't like. Then the Gaiden Lance for Iceborne, which was interesting because it combined the idea of Guild Quest, which was leveling up the area to get rare monsters and rewards. It combined like the idea of augmentation from For Ultimate, which was for customizing and honing your weapons, which I thought was really cool. But it came out, it was a little sloppy at first, and I was not the biggest fan. But then when I went back like half a year later and I was able to dedicate more time to playing at home, I loved it. I thought it was great because one, the game was balanced in a way that I feel you don't have to interact with it. You could take down Fatalis without augmenting your weapons. I truly believe that because Yuna was able to do that. She did not augment her weapons when we did Alatreon and Fatalis. She still has an augment. She augmented her weapons after that just for fun because it was something to do. So she didn't even have health augments. Neither did I on my other run. But it felt optional enough that if you wanted to engage and start, power creeping your weapons a little bit, like you could just go to the Guiding Lance, and it was purely for augmentation. You kill a monster, you don't really get. If you want monster parts, you do quest. If you want augment parts, you do the Guiding Lance. So ultimately, the fact that my end game is just hunting monsters and having fun, I would say it's a mix between. Actually, there's one thing I forgot to mention, which was the end game idea that they had. I don't know if it would even be considered end game, but for me it was because I play all the weapons. But in Generations Ultimate, they made it so that every single weapon had a final upgrade, like an end game rarity. And so it made like 100 or more, actually more than 100, final like good attack rarity weapons for every single weapon type. So it was ridiculous amounts of gems and things to find. And that was almost like an augmentation system in of itself, and finding those and doing that. So
for
I would
people
say,
for people that don't understand what Gaijin is talking about, imagine the half steps in the trees right now. So you'll have certain weapons that will stop at like rarity 4 and then veer off into a different path. And GU, you would be able to upgrade whenever you would get to that point where the weapon would stop, you'd be able to upgrade it all the way into being competitive with the rest of the weapons. So you'd be able to take
so everything had like a
everything
rarity 9 or 10 or 11 or 12 or something. It was just ridiculous.
Yeah. There's still so many weapons this day in June that whenever I still remember whenever I would browse the database, because you'd have to look through a database to actually see the weapons.
Oh, yeah, you couldn't see the trees, unfortunately.
Yeah. Whenever I would browse through the database, whenever I was looking for specific gun lances, it was insane. You just like keep scrolling. You're like, okay, this one gets white sharpness, this one gets purple, blah blah blah. This one has shelling level 4. This one shelling level.
Every permutation you could think about. Every permutation existed.
But it was pretty cool. It was a really good system, and it made a lot more weapons viable that way.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping they would do that for Rise. I'm hoping Rise Ultimate, they do something like that. That would be really nice. Or expand the amount of rampage skills so that you can have those different permutations, So I think I would give the winner to Iceborne, actually. I know that might surprise some people, but for the fact that, to me, Endgame is just hunting monsters, having fun. And if there's an additional layer that's just another fun thing to do that you don't have to interact with, I think Iceborne takes the cake because that had more hours you can dump into it.
Yeah.
And it still felt like you were progressing and doing something new because there were new monsters to unlock, which I liked. Like getting Silver Rathalos or Gold Rathian or whatever. Like that was cool. Like there was reason to do it, where weapon honing, it was like, it's just a fun way to like become OP and fight, and a reward for doing the Apex hunts. Everything else was just kind of like optional, and there wasn't any major carrots. And I thought the Guiding Lance, the revised version of them, not the earliest version.
The revised version was really.
Yeah, and I made a video saying they fixed the endgame, and I thought it was great, but I don't consider that the norm. I think that was a special irregularity. Yeah. I don't require that in my Monster Hunter games. If we have it, great. Because it's just an optional thing. Like if you want to do it, do it. So
I can't
Iceborne.
wait to.
I'll give it to Iceborne.
I can't wait to read the comments on this and hear a couple of people calling you a hypocrite because everybody knows that you hate Monster
He
Hunter World.
criticized it. He hated it. He only made more videos on Monster Hunter World than any other Monster Hunter game. He hated it.
I thought it was. I think I read a comment about that at some point where someone was saying, "Gaijin, everybody knows that he hates Iceborne." I'm just like, "What the fuck are you talking?"
Or they say I'm flip floppy. They say that I'm always changing my opinion. I'm like, they literally changed the end game. They fixed it, and I made an entire video talking about why I didn't like it and why I love it now. Like, watch it and just leave me alone.
And it's funny because like I was even aware of the fact that you did enjoy Iceborne before we ever began talking. So it's always weird to me. And I'm someone that doesn't even watch that many videos on YouTube. Like I'll watch a video here and there. So I should be completely out of the loop. But even I was like, yeah, he doesn't like it maybe as much as previous games, but he still likes the game. It's like, but to see people like, oh, Gaijin hates World. I'm just like, what the fuck are you talking about? Oh, crap. Like, okay. So sorry.
I'm a bad influence. We'll try to stop that.
We'll try to rein it in. But
yes, the unexpected answer. I'd say Iceborne's Endgame was the best.
But it's one of those things that some people are going to pick this up now and they're going to be like, but see, there is a problem with Rise because it doesn't have an end game. That's not what we're saying. We're just answering the question, which end game loop we think was more fun for us. That doesn't mean that Rise needs to have, the guiding lands or something along those lines. I think Rise is fine just the way that it is. Because not every game needs to drag you along forever. Sometimes, you play a game and then you're done with it and then you move on. And that's fine.
Yeah. People are like, yeah, but there's no reward. I'm going back to World. What are you going to do? Play with friends. Why are you doing the quest? Just to hunt. It's the same thing.
It's the same thing. It is kind of the same thing.
You're not hunting for a reward. You're doing it because it's fun.
But if you have more fun in World, more power to you. Go play in World.
But I love, as I've said before, I love all the Monster Hunter games that I've played pretty much equally because I love them for different reasons. So,
Monster Hunter is just that special game that always keeps on giving, and I do hope that.
So I got a question I want to ask you.
Okay.
And I just interrupted you again. These
sorry.
These servers, man.
It's not the camera this time, so it's fine. It's just, guys, for those of you that still don't know, we do have a big latency between Japan and Portugal, so that's why we interrupt each other so often. It's not that, as some people seem to assume, it's not that we don't respect each other or that we're purposefully trying to speak over one another. It just happens because latency. I don't know what I was saying. Doesn't matter. Keep going.
I ruined it.
It's fine.
Rip. Now what the hell was I gonna say? Gosh,
oh snap! You were talking about we were talking about Iceborne and Endgame, and I just said that, hey, if you prefer to play World with your friends, play World with your friends. Just keep having fun. Then I said something about Monster Hunter's the gift that keeps on giving.
Yes, I was going to jump subject and ask you a question.
Yes.
I'll answer it as well, but it's something I was thinking about. So we are very similar in the fact that we like what we like. Like, we're not chasing the meta, so to say, although we very much enjoy the strongest weapon, as anybody would. But if you could only take one weapon in Monster Hunter Rise for each weapon class, which... like, for example, if you can only take you can only have one greatsword.
Okay.
Which one would it be? If you can only have one longsword, what would it be?
I would
love to know.
Do rampage weapons count or no? I don't think they should, because rampage weapons are way too versatile.
Well, you could change the appearance of them as well, and that might be the reason why you choose a weapon is because of its appearance only.
No, but I don't think rampage weapons should count. I don't think they should.
Okay, so no, that's what I'm saying. They shouldn't count because, again, I think some weapons I'll choose purely because I like how it looks. I don't care how it plays. So, like, if you only had to choose one, we'll you start, I'll go, and then we'll walk through the weapons. I don't know if this will be interesting, but it's a question again. So, greatsword. You can only take one greatsword. Which one are you taking? Are you going for power? Are you going for design? What are you going for? Both?
I'm gonna go for power because I don't play that much greatsword. So it's like if I can only have one, I'd want one that would be a good all rounder. So I'd take Nargacuga, which is actually the one that I'm using right now in my greatsword set.
Narga, okay. Interesting.
And
I
also, and
will.
also, I like the looks of it better than I like Tigrex. So I think it looks better than
Mm,
Tigrex as well. But I'm going for meta with the greatsword, 100%.
shots fired. .png. I'm choosing Tigrex because it has a better design than Nargacuga.
In your dreams, buddy. Come on, it's T-Rex's jaw. That thing looks unwieldy as hell. It's just a
I
bunch of teeth.
I love the fact that it's got like the two different like parts. It looks like it hurts, and it does hurt.
I'll tell you what. I respect the T-Rex greatsword a lot more than I respect some of the slap-on designs in Monster Hunter World. I lots of respect for that design. I'll give you that.
Yeah, but I'm with you with power, but I'm choosing Tigrex for design reasons.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny. Okay, longsword. You can only take one longsword.
I'm gonna go with Chameleos. I mean, it's the most powerful longsword, and I know that I'm going meta again, but Chameleos, interestingly enough, I actually like the design of it as well. Like, I think it's an interesting looking weapon. And I like the fact that it becomes invisible and stuff. And I don't think I've ever... that longsword is new, right? That longsword design? That's new to Rise, right? Or is it not?
I don't think so. No, I don't think it is. No.
Okay. Because, again, I don't play longsword, so I haven't seen it in the older games. But I really like
Yeah.
that design. I thought it looks cool.
Okay, boring answer, but exactly the same. You nailed it. It's the best of both worlds. It is the top of the class power and it's top of the class design. It's just fantastic.
Yeah.
It's too good. And it's got slots. Oh man. It's so good. Too powerful. So if you just want a lazy choice, if you want to get into the longsword, just make the Chameleos longsword. You'll be happy. Okay. Harder questions now. Sword and shield.
Oh, man. That is so hard. But if I can only have one, it has to be Rathalos. Rathel, it's like this is not a meta choice by a long shot because I've just been playing like Shield Bash and Rathalos's SNS is not that great for Shield Bash, but it would give me the versatility where I could still use Shield Bash if I want to and go for the Shield Bash meta, while at the same time having an option to play elemental damage. And quite simply, it's one of my favorite designs from a longsword standpoint. It looks really good. It's a very iconic weapon for me.
Very nice. I'm gonna go with Mizutsune. Because
That's not a sword and shield.
it's a sword and fist. I know.
No,
I
it's
like
not even
the
a sword. It's a fan.
I was a fan. Well, the thing is, like, I was a huge Katana fan in Mortal Kombat. I'll just say. Anyways, like, I like the design. It's a beautiful fan, but it's also the second weapon outside the ninja sword that doesn't have a shield. It has a bracelet, so you're punching monsters.
See, that's another downside.
That's an upside for me. So different strokes for different folks. Okay, which I'll just mention. I'm really happy that Rampage Sword and Shield was great because I can reskin it to the Mizutsune. It's so good. Okay, dual blades. That can be only one.
So for dual blades, I would go with I forget the name of it, but it's the one that's got ice and blast.
Oh, the Kushala Teo kind of mixed one.
I'd go for that one because it's a cool the whole thing of the dual elements. It's not meta, it's not whatever, but I find it interesting that so I have this weapon and it's got both ice damage and blast damage. I think it's cool. I'd probably go for that.
Nice. Yeah, I'll say for design alone, I have to go with the Raging Claws, the cat claws, just because I enjoyed it so much. Like, I don't use them that much anymore. I have much better sets now. I think that are better than it, but I love them to death. And just having the idea of everything's a critical hit, double, and that's what opened my eyes to protective polish, and that opened the door to a lot of different weapons for different classes as well. So,
oh man, I didn't even remember the ninja sword. Now that I'm thinking about it, that thing has 100% crit. God damn it.
Well, the thing is the Raging Claws are even better because 100% crit could be. Well, I guess you can't go down in this game, can you? You can't go down in crit. There's no negative
No.
skills.
No.
Yeah, because I say the
100%,
raging claws, they don't
100%.
care. It just says it's going to be a crit hit. It doesn't care. There's no percentages involved. It's
Oh,
just 100.
interesting.
It's absolute. So what's the next one on here? Hammer or Lance? I can't remember the order, but I'll say hammer.
It's probably hammer.
Hammer
So
time.
for hammer, this is a weird choice. I still criticize myself for liking this one so much, and it's not even the design of it, because it's a super basic design one. It's more for stats, but I'm going for stats, but these aren't even meta stats. These are just stats that I find fun. And it's the paralysis hammer. It's that golden looking hammer. Because it's got, yeah, it looks like Kolv Taroth. Like, I actually hate Kolv Taroth, so I don't even like the look of that hammer.
Gold-plated.
But it's one of the few paralysis hammers. It's got decent raw. It's got, you can get decent blue on it as well, if I remember correctly. So, it's a hammer that's got para, and I find it very interesting to play the hammer with stunning potential as well as paralysis potential. I just made a build and I called it the Crippler. That's what it does, just cripples monsters.
Oh, that's golden. For me, I'm gonna go with greatsword.
Why would you say that? Because the hammer's golden.
It's bad puns, I know.
Okay, sorry, go.
That's golden. Quite literally.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be like you with the greatsword here. The hammer, to me, when I use it, I want big numbers, unga bunga. So I'm going with Tigrex.
Yeah.
I don't particularly love the design, but I don't dislike it either. But man, does it do damage?
Oh yeah, that thing will crack someone's skull wide open.
That's my baby. So, hunting horn.
Okay, for hunting horn, I'm gonna go with basils. I like basils. It's got power. You can get white sharpness on it. It's got good songs. It's just a very good all-rounder, and it's from one of my favorite monsters. So, there you go. Easy
Nice.
pick.
Easy pick, yeah. This is tough because I can't choose Rampage. I've been not allowed to choose it. But I gotta say, you know what I did? I actually remade my horn because I realized that so many people are writing Valstrax now that I just don't even want to deal with, people being upset if I heal them. Yeah. So I remade my healing horn, but instead of going for the attack, I actually reverted it all the way back to level 1 and gave it attack melody 1, because if you have attack melody 2, it gives you attack and affinity boost in one song, which is great. But let's be honest here. If you're playing hunting horn, every song's always going to be active, right?
Yeah.
You're never going to have a song not active. So having them rolled up into one is nice, but what do I get on tremor resistance or something? I'm like, who cares about that? And the sonic wave, which is like so Peasley, it's like a stupid, who cares? So if you do attack melody 1, you get attack up as its own melody, affinity up as its own melody, and you get elemental attack up.
Oh.
So yeah, so it's kind of like it's got all of them going on. So I actually use that now on my Rampage, but since I can't choose a Rampage,
you can use Valstrax. I think it also has that. I'm not sure.
But it doesn't have the attack. It's elemental only, I think.
Oh, right.
Or it doesn't have the affinity. It's missing one of them.
Yeah.
But and you can't have like crazy raw like you can do with the Rampage. So it's kind of unique. I guess. So I was gonna say Basil as well.
So take Basil. That's fine. There's no rule that says we can't have the same one.
Yeah, I'll admit I'm a little disappointed in the sounds for hunting horns this time around. They just don't feel as unique and iconic as I would have wanted. But the Basil's always been, all good.
I transmogged my Rampage, because the one that I actually use is Rampage as well. But I transmogged my Rampage to Zinogre, because it's a guitar. So yeah, sure. I'll take that.
Is it a guitar or is it a bass guitar? I don't know.
I think Zinogre's is actually a guitar.
Okay. The next one would be Switch Axe?
Wouldn't we go for the lances now?
Oh, lances. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, okay.
skip over our weapons.
I mean,
Lance.
Lance. We're not taking Rampage. Which one was the Lance that I was using now? Because I swapped to a new Lance and I forget what it was. God, there's a Lance that has white sharpness that I really like. I don't think it's... Oh yeah, it is Tigrex. The Lance that I'm using is Tigrex. So probably I wouldn't go for that. If I could only have one...
That's another one for people who don't know. That's like the powerhouse like that. There's nothing that compares to it.
Yeah, Tigrex is the best one, right?
Yeah.
But if I wanted to have... If I could only have one, I'd probably go for Diablos instead.
The good old Diablos.
It's the old reliable.
I'm gonna cheat here.
You can't.
I
what do you mean you're gonna cheat?
I'm gonna cheat. I'm not allowed to choose Rampage, so I'm gonna choose based on design only because that essentially is me choosing Rampage because I can take the design.
No, I mean it's like you can choose just for design. It's fine. I mean that's the reason I chose the Sword and Shield.
This one feels like Dark Souls to me, and maybe I'm wrong here in saying Dark Soulsy. Maybe it's just medieval, but there's the Remabra lance. It looks like a trident. It's like the little snaky head at the top, and it's got 3 prongs. It's like a trident. It's long. It's like dark steel. It is so cool. Like when you see that thing in the...
That reminds me of Valhazax, maybe a little bit like that, because Valhazax was also a trident, if I remember, kind of. Yeah, but I don't know what the Remobra one looks like. I haven't really looked at it.
Yeah, you should check it out. It's nice.
I'll have to see that one later.
I wish I had a picture, but I don't. But anyway, yeah, that's a fun one. So Gunlance.
God, how would you do this to me? Gunlance is so hard. It's so hard because there are some that I like just because of the design. Then there's the ones that I like because they're actually good. I think if I could absolutely only have one, it'd probably have to be the Howitzer. It's not even my favorite in terms of design, but the design's good. It's got white sharpness. It's got long 5. It does all of the things pretty much that you can expect. So yeah, the Howitzer. And I see the Lance picture that you sent me there. That does look pretty cool.
It's a little less colorful and a little bit more like it looks like hard cold steel now.
The one thing I don't like about that lance you just showed me is that shield. That's not a shield. What the hell is that? Get that thing out of here.
It's like a bat.
looks like Safi's gun lance shield was terrible. I hated it. But yeah, I'd go for the Howitzer when it comes to the gun lance. It's pretty much a reliable choice. It checks all the boxes.
Nice. I'm gonna go with the Rachna.
Arachna? Yeah.
Rachna, yeah, because that's the one that got me to try it, and I like
that. Would be my second choice, and the reason I did not pick that one because I actually think that one is slightly better than the Howitzer, is because I don't like the design of it as much. I don't like the design of it as much. I like most of the designs. And the thing is, the Howitzer also opens you up for more play styles than Rachna, because Howitzer deals more, I mean, long shelling in general deals more Wyvern stake damage, deals more Wyvern fire damage. So it gives you all of these different play styles to play around with. And I like being able to use the entirety of the moveset of the weapon.
Yeah, this is another one where I would have picked Rampage for stats if I could. But.
Oh, yeah, of course. Because Rampage is just the best gun lance now. Rampage is just straight up the best.
Switch axe.
Okay, Switch axe. This one's actually.
Yeah,
funny.
I can guess which one you're gonna pick.
You can.
I'm gonna write it down, and then when you say it, I'll reveal it if I was right, or I'll just bow my head in shame if I got it when I was wrong. Hang on a second.
You can get ready to bow in shame because you're not gonna get it. You are not gonna get it. You are so not gonna get it.
Really? Hang on a second. Damn. Now you're making me double think everything that I thought about life and all that kind of stuff.
You ready for it?
Yeah, just give it to me. I won't even.
Teostra.
Ooh, It's a nice choice. As I call it, the passion fruit. It looks like a dragon fruit legacy.
I really, really like Teos. I mean, this is not met at all. I made a set just for that Switch axe because I like it so much. And you know what I did to test it out? I basically just told my chat, hey guys, I need to test out this new set. And chat was like, yeah, go fight Apex Diablos. And I was like, okay.
Okay. His horns blew up.
I carded. I don't know if it was once or twice because I wasn't used to Switch X. I don't play Switch X that much. But I swapped the switch skills around to be more mobile with the Invincible Gambit instead of the other one so I could chase after Diablos. And yeah, things started working my way, and it's so fun. So many blast procs. The blast procs you can get out of that thing is insane. And because it's element file, which supposedly adds more blast to it, I guess. Even it's an element file with blast. It's kind of weird. But you get so many blast procs, and I was like, dude, this thing's hilarious. It's not even about how powerful it is. It's just how much fun it is to just see blast procking all the time. It's like,
Boom, 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 boom.
it's so fun. So yeah, I'd go
I like that
Teostra.
design. That and the sword and shield. I love Teostra's design.
And the design is amazing as well. Yeah, the design is also awesome. So yeah, Teostra for Switch X. How about you?
Oh man. I actually really like the Diablos one. It's like 250 raw. It's got long green sharpness and it's got exhaust file. Like putting that thing on with Bludgeoner and Mind's Eye 3 and Stamina Thief and
Is that what you thought I was gonna pick?
and no. I actually forgot what I thought you were gonna pick. Now I'm really
You wrote
scared
it.
of this
You
one.
wrote it on the. You wrote.
I was
it on the
I was
paper.
about to write it down. I was about to write it down, and then you said, "You'll never guess what it is." And then whatever was in my head just went. Let me see if I can remember what it was.
Never doubt the power of the mind, everyone. I destroyed that thought from Gaijin's mind.
You annihilated it. You just evaporized like
It's like
Thanos.
you'll never guess it. You'll never know.
And my brain just sort of said, "I don't want to lose, so I'm just gonna forget what I was gonna
quit.
say."
Your brain's like, I quit. Stop. No more.
He's got it.
I
I can't believe I can't recall what it is.
You just
It's
lost
so
it.
funny. I completely lost it. Like to the point that it actually feels like it was Thanos snapped. Like I can't even look in my memory and figure out, like, it's cloudy. It's just
It's
pure
like-
white. I
it's-
don't know what it is.
It's surprising for me that you would, because like I don't even play that much Switch X. Why would you know the specific Switch X that I would use?
There was one design that I thought you would like, and I completely forgot it. God.
Specifically by the design.
Charge blade.
Okay. So for Charge Blade,
What's your go-to? What do you like?
I'm gonna go for Gosarag. Gosarag's a good
Ooh.
one. It's got good raw. I think you can actually take it all the way up to white, if I'm not mistaken. For the playstyle that I'm doing right now, Rajang is actually better. But I would, if I could only have
hate
one.
that design.
Yeah, the design of Rajang is terrible. I don't like it at all.
I really.
So if I can only have one, I'd rather take Gosarag because the design's good. It gives you a lot of build options, and it's a solid weapon all around. It's called the Stunning Axe, for crying out loud. It's just so cool. How about you?
Charge blade. Charge blade is the one that I have not given love to in this game at all. Like even less so than any other weapon.
A lot of people would argue neither is Capcom.
Ooh,
It's like,
Ooh,
listen, that's what I
one
keep
hit,
hearing.
that one hits differently, right? Ooh.
I don't know. That's just what I keep hearing. That's not me saying it.
Damn, man, you're brutal.
Yep.
So actually, I don't know. If it looks how I think I remember it looks, I'm gonna choose Valstrax because if I remember, it looks really cool. But I haven't really used much charge blades.
If you want
so
a
I don't even know
cool
what-
looking one, I would go for Chameleos. Chameleos. Have you seen the way the Chameleos one looks?
Oh, is that like the deck of cards?
It's a
one?
deck of cards. Like I thought that was
Yeah,
so
yeah.
creative when I saw it the first time. I was like, dude, that's insane. That's really cool.
That's nice.
Yeah, I'd still go
But
for Ghost
we
Recon.
really do need an actual pizza cutter, though. We actually really do need them to put that back in the game. Okay, insect glaive.
Okay, so for the insect glaive, there's two that are right on the tip of my mind. I'm indecisive between the one that looks like the Sailor Moon staff and Zinogre.
I was gonna joke and say that actually.
I think
I thought like, you were gonna choose the Sailor Moon one.
no, I think I'll probably go for Zinogre. It's got really good raw. It's got good Kinsect level. You can do a lot of builds with it. Like you can even just go straight up for raw, or you can do for elemental. So I think I'd go for Zinogre, and it looks good too. So there's that.
I feel dirty doing this, but I'm gonna choose Narga. It's just
That's the one that I'm
super
using right
solid.
now. It's the one that
Yeah,
I'm using.
that's the one I use, and I just. However, I will say the other day, and I might like this actually more once I use it more. But there's a paralysis weapon that has level 8 Kinsect, and it's actually pretty powerful. Let me see what
Is that
which one it was. I was really
Volvidon's?
no, it's like one of those like mushroom ones or something. It's like bright yellow. It looks really funny,
Chaos,
but it's got
or
like
something.
or something like that, right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember what it has, but yeah, but it was oh, here it is. Paralysis. Wait, is that it? Level 7. I thought it was level 8. Maybe it was level 7. Yeah, but it was like a 170 raw with level 3 slot. It goes up to white sharpness with some handicraft, and it's got 25 paralysis. So I just tack on like paralysis level 3.
And then you can get
I'm
the
like, let's go.
paralysis bug to go with it as well. It's pretty nice.
Yeah, and just go crazy. It's just fun. But yeah, Narga wins, I think, for me. So now we're going into the territory which I know that you're not a huge fan of. I don't even know if you want to choose, but light bowgun.
No, this is all you, dude. Like they can take all of them away. I don't want any of them. It's like,
Yeah.
if you told me you could only have one of these, I'll be like, I don't want any. You can take them all. I don't care.
This one I'll choose on power alone. Nargacuga is just too good in this game. The Pierce 2 is just ridiculous, especially because I do
Narga's the
rampages
beast
a lot.
in here.
And then if you want to play a third-person shooter game inside of Monster Hunter Rise, just grab the Nargacuga light bowgun. Make a set that just has, like Pierce 3, Rapid Up 3, all the good stuff. And congratulations, go to a rampage. It's now a shooting game. It feels like, what's that other Capcom, Dead Rising? It feels like you're literally just gutting down monsters at that point. It's ridiculous. Like, you don't have to touch a single installation. First wave of monsters, you don't even need the counter signal. They're gone. Like, meet my little friend. Like, you just kill them instantly. And then when you put up the counter thing, you're getting like 10 hits of 80. It's like constantly, and it's nonstop. So like, we'll kill monsters in the second area at the gate. Like they won't even get in the area. Like they'll bust down the gate with their roar, and then they'll die. Like we don't even get the fight in the second area. It's just too good. It's so for lazy rampages. Yeah, Narga wins. Then I guess you're not going to choose heavy bowgun then.
No, I don't care about the ranged weapons. It's like whatever.
Okay, so for heavy bowgun, I will give my winner to. See, I recently discovered that stickies fire faster if you cannot move. Like I would think that being able to move while shooting it would be better, right? But being stuck stationary actually makes it so that you fire faster.
So that's
even if you're.
That's the recoil stat, right? Or something like that?
Well, it's not. No, it's not in the recoil. The thing is there's something about the animation speed that if the game is forcing you to be stationary versus you choosing to be stationary, the speed is different.
No, what I'm asking is what causes the game forcing you to be stationary? What's the stat that determines that?
There's an actual stat that has like a walking icon. Like, can I walk while I shoot this? There's no stat that is like a set thing. So like,
so it's just on a per ammo type per weapon. Okay.
Yeah. So in this one, I would choose Rampage, but since I can't, I'll say the. I know Rajang is really popular, but Teostra is really fun because you can do
Teostra
all
is
sorts
a
of other
cannon
ammo as well.
I love that design.
Yeah,
it's just a goddamn cannon.
you could just stick you to death any Elder Dragon in 3.5 minutes. They're dead. It's just the ultimate cheese. But sometimes cheese is good,
Yeah, I
When
like
you're
cheese in
really,
my
really
sandwiches in the
upset at a
morning.
monster. Get really upset from a monster. Say that's it. I'm going in with a heavy bow gun and I'm just going to lock it and destroy it and be like, "Ha! Take that." Weapon balance. um, and bow,
Sticky go
which we
brr.
don't. I, then bow, although rampages is the best. I won't choose power here. I'll actually choose the Tigrex bow only for the fact that outside of power files, it can or power codings, you can use everything, and I really like that. It's kind of fun. You can poison, you can sleep, you can
Versatility.
paralysis. Yeah, but Nargacuga and rampages are the winners, in the most part.
Wait, Nargacuga would be
I know
raw. I thought Bo excelled at elemental.
it does, but raw is also just like when you're doing that much raw, like.
I love the balancing around the bow. Yeah, it's great with element. It's also great with raw. It's fantastic. You know, this bad boy can kill so many monsters. You have no idea.
But no, I mean, we'll generally like if we're going up against Narwa or Ibushi and we want to go bow, we'll use a rampage Pierce with dragon, and it just
It'll
it will
shred.
just eat through them. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. So
I can imagine.
anyway, that was a fun mental exercise, and I literally cannot imagine what switch axe I was imagining you would like. It's literally gone from my head.
You're still thinking about it. You're still like, what the hell was that?
It's killing me the fact that I can't remember what it was. My memory ain't what it used to be, man.
I need to like look at all the designs to see if there's one that looks particularly appealing, and then I'll ask you if it was this one.
It's literally gone. Like I have no clue. So
It's gone forever.
gone
But
forever.
anyway, I'm gonna be calling this episode here, guys,
Yep.
because it's 3 a.m. I need to go get some
Oh,
sleep. Thank you all.
I think
Go ahead.
are we doing the next podcast? Is the next podcast literally would it be like one day before Capcom's show?
No. What do you mean?
When is their show?
Their show is like Saturday or Sunday or something like that. It's on the
Oh, okay.
14th. So 14th
Oh,
is
okay.
going
So
to
it'll be before. Perfect.
Yeah, it's going to be before. It's 14th is actually Monday. Interesting. They're announcing after E3. It's like no wait, E3 is until the 15th. Never mind. I'm drunk.
Yeah. Okay. Well, if they're going earlier, then
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
great.
yeah,
That
yeah.
means next episode we'll have lots to talk about.
Oh yeah, 100%. Next episode is going to be a wild one. But
Yes.
we're going to be calling it here. If you guys enjoyed the podcast, make sure to hit that like button because it helps us out a lot. If you did not enjoy it, hit the dislike button. Feedback is important. If you usually enjoy this stuff, subscribe, bell notification icon. There's going to be links to all of Gaijin's stuff in the comment section down below. We'll see you guys in the next one. Stay strong, stay safe.
And happy hunting.